Hello, everyone. Sorry to start a smidge late. I was about to come home and then I got distracted helping someone make a commander deck. So was all in the spirit of helping make someone's magic deck better. So hopefully worthwhile. Anyway, welcome everyone, and welcome Dorlear, who is new to us. So everyone, give them a warm welcome. We're going to start with something absolutely insane. That I've been sort of wanting to do for a while, but have been sort of putting off. But I sort of put it in the bucket, knowing that if I left it long enough, eventually it would have the most votes. And today that has managed to happen. So we're going to do this. It may take a while. We'll see. Tristan will put the list of people who voted for it in chat. So as some of you may know, I recently set a hybrid country road Fillomino with not these rules, but the grids are basically indistinguishable because they both feature sort of arrows that point at things and stuff like that, and like no other clues. So similar sort of idea. So I should go over what the rules are for Fillomino and country road, and for that, I think it's very helpful to have this little example grid here, which Tristan will put a link to in chat shortly. So this puzzle, by the way, was voted for by our supporters. So by David, Woofer, Naverio, Minddrive, Luda, Ambrose, Russ, and DDX. So thank you very much to all of you for your support. I look forward to this puzzle, and I hope you also look forward to it. Hopefully you enjoy it. All right, so this example tells you what the final puzzle is going to look like. So it is going to be broken. Let's see. I don't think there's any way to get a zoomed in version of this, unfortunately. So the grid is going to be broken completely into ominoes of various sizes. And every omino has its size in the cell. So you can see, for example, this omino up here has 6 cells in it, and so every digit in it contains a 6. Okay. In particular, this is nothing like a sudoku. There's no Latin square rule that you can't repeat digits. You're going to repeat digits all over the place, all over a Fillomino. And so each of these sort of contiguous regions, Jesper has here drawn in borders in green for them. And so notice there are some cells that are shaded and some that are unshaded, which is perhaps a bit unusual, but that pertains to the country road part of the puzzle. And the country road part of the puzzle is that we have to draw a loop into the grid, here drawn in red, that visits every omino exactly once. And by visits it exactly once, what I mean is it can't come in, leave, and then come back through this corner. That is not allowed. Now, it can visit any number of cells in that region. It could visit one, or it could visit every one. And so you can see it only visits one cell out of the 6 omino, but it visits every cell of the 5 omino. So that is all exciting. That's right. Celebrity interviewer Meme Rister is here. Welcome, Meme Rister. Former guest of the stream, probably future guest of the stream as well. Speaking of, Tristan has been lining up some more celebrity guests for us, so look forward to announcements of that coming soon. At least one of our guests had said they would like to do pencil puzzles with us, so I will let you guess who would say that they wanted to do pencil puzzles with us. So that is the rules of the Fillomino and the rules of the country road. Okay, additionally, we have these arrow clues. Okay, and the arrow clues count something rather bizarre, which is that they count the number of cells in all indicated directions that are not visited by the loop. The cell itself does not count, which I'm sure I'm going to screw up myself many times. But you'll notice both of these threes, for example, they both point at all of these cells over here. And so they both show that there's 3 unvisited cells. And so Jesper has here made all the unvisited cells gray and all the visited cells green. And so notice this 3 is counting 2 different things at once. And so that's the magic of these sort of Fillomino hybrids. This 3 is simultaneously counting the number of cells in its omino, as well as the number of unvisited cells in this direction of this row. So that is what is happening here. And so you'll notice some of the cells have more than one arrow. So like this 5 here, it's seeing 2 unvisited cells in that direction and 3 unvisited cells in that direction. So here is our full puzzle. So it's only 10 by 10, in quotes, only 10 by 10. Now, one thing I have to tell myself right away is that I don't think there's any reason why an arrow has to be on a border. In fact, yes, an arrow does not have to be on a border. So you can see here, for example, there are arrows that are not on borders. So that's not a thing that we are able to prove, which is unfortunate. But we can at least start with these cells, which is at least something, because the cells don't count themselves. By the way, I have absolutely no idea what a good bet tree is, so I'm just going to throw a bet tree down here and guess, because there's no clues down here, that it'll be fine. It's funny, this is also the region in Denver that has no clues. And yes, please do take a second to like the stream if you've not yet done so. It helps bring about more ridiculous puzzle action. And keep in mind, it might be more than 9. So the bet tree may be as high as 100 if it turns out that this is a 100 cell omino, which is possible. Who knows? It's probably not going to turn out to be true, but you never know. Okay, it is. I can actually prove it's not going to be. So these are these are not a 1-2 pair, but they are each from 1 or 2, and at least one of them is 2. And the way I know that is that they're counting the number of cells in these 2. And so we have that. Hey, Carl, how are you doing? I hope you are doing well. So I always in these puzzles sort of start by finding what are the arrows that have only a small number of possibilities. This one can only be 1, 2, or 3. I'm always sort of checking because remember, I think I never said that. But it is true that I can't have 2 ominoes of the same size touching. I think I never actually said that as part of my rules explanation. But since 2 ominoes of the same size can't touch, at least one of these is a 2. And they might both be 2 unless there's a good reason why they can't both be 2. If they were both 2, what that would say is that none of these were visited. Is there a reason why it's obvious that it's not the case that none of these are visited? I don't think there's a reason why that would not work. It would just mean all of these were part of the same omino. Okay. If you did, then they wouldn't be the size, is the way I think about it. Wait, if you did, they wouldn't be the size. I don't understand exactly what Mister's point is. I suspect it is a genius point, but I do not understand it. This is from, oops. This is from 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's already a 2 in the row, and so, no, that's not how this works. I do suspect that this together with this is going to create some... Oh, wait, no, there is a reason that doesn't work. There is a reason that doesn't work. If I make all of these unvisited, it does not work, because this arrow and this arrow would be different in that instance. Oh, congratulations to Jay Dyer on another Cracking the Cryptic feature. Jay knocking it out of the park with cracking the Cryptic features lately. This does not actually work because these two arrows... Wait, is there a reason why these arrows... Yes, it doesn't work. This does not work. Yes, okay. It doesn't work for the following reason. These two arrows are different because this one counts one more cell than that one. But now I have the other rule that I didn't actually say, which is that this is two unvisited cells across a border from each other, which is not allowed in Country Road. In Country Road, if there are two cells opposite each other on a border, one of them must be visited. So this does break. So what that means is it is actually the case that one of these is a 1 and one of these is a 2. Now, that does mean whichever of these is a 1, I'm going to mark this in the most ludicrous possible way. Whichever of these is a 1, well, it means there's a border between them. Let me do that. For sure. And whichever of these is a 1 is definitely visited, because a 1 cell thing is always visited. So this is not a 4, in other words, because the one of these that's a 1 is definitely visited. So it is a 1, 2, or 3. So we've got that. Yeah, so either that there or that there. Right, one of these pairs is double shaded, and one of them is a shaded and an unshaded. I don't think I know the order. AFK either knows more than me or is assuming that it has to work out the way I drew it before, when it might be the other way around. I suspect AFK knows more than I do, but I'm not quite sure. This is legitimately a 1-2 pair. Oh no, Jay. Horrible, horrible. Usually I grab those, although I admit that Tesseralis' 6x6x6 may have caused some trepidation about vignettes-inspired puzzles. Are you referring to what I said or what someone else said, Ratfinks? I do believe they can't both be 2. I believe that deduction. Would row 5, column 3, visit row 3, column 3? Not quite sure what Robert is asking me. No problem, Sarah. I just wanted to double check and make sure I don't want to get the puzzle wrong. So the thing I know for sure is that one of these two is loop. I don't have a fantastic way to mark that, but I know that one of these two is loop, and I know that one of these two is loop. At least. It could be that both of them are loop. That's possible as well. But either one or both of these are loop. Either one or both of these are loop. 2, 3, 4, 5. This one's at most 5. Let me label these up with at most 5. This one's at most 6. This one's at most 5. trying to sort of mentally tease out. And the fact that all of these are small is interesting. Dual arrow in row 10. The dual arrow sums ELOSF, unfortunately. So the dual arrow, instead of, if the dual arrow was actually 2 arrows, it would be more useful, but actually any cell with more than 1 arrow is completely useless, because you can see the sum here. So yes, I was hoping against hope that I had misunderstood that, and that was how it worked, but sadly we're not so fortunate in this particular instance. AFK wants me to put in some X's. I'm not quite sure. Let's see, between row 2, column 3, 4? Well, I mean, we've got a border there, so we're okay there. Row 1 to column 3. Ah, right. Okay, that's true. Okay, so that I definitely buy. The loop can't possibly come down here, because that would mean both of these were visited. And the loop can't come down here, because that would mean that both of these were visited. So there's no, like, loop going downage across these. That is AFK's point, or at least one of AFK's points that I now understand. Okay. Okay. Me and Rister went to the LMD page to check if he understood the rules and discovered he's already solved the puzzle. AFK claiming these can't be loop. But I don't at all understand why yet. Oh, I do understand why. It's because if the loop went here, so let me show you what happens. If the loop does go through here, then it goes through both of these, because if the loop is here, it's now a corner, in quotes, and so then now neither of these is a 2. So that does work. So these are both in the lingo of the Jesper notation gray, is the point. And so one of these are a gray-green pair, and so because they're a gray-green pair, we get an X there. That's another of AFK's points. So because this is a gray-green pair, right, we get a thing here. So saying the X, by the way, just means the loop does not go through this edge. That's all I'm saying. I'm not making any claims about phenomenos or anything of that sort. Let's see. So one of these is a 2. The one that's a 2 means that's gray. What is that if this is the 2? Probably also a 2? Ooh, we get a fan dance for Sarah? Welcome, Sarah. We'll get you a fan dance. Woo! I did not get a notification, but I except from Tristan, so I will give you a fan dance. Woohoo! Woohoo! Woo! Ah. Woohoo! Thank you, Sarah. Thank you. New to Greenage. Welcome, Sarah. Thank you. We try and thank everyone as they become green. This can't actually be a 6 because I know this is a gray-green pair. I suspect that is a completely useless deduction, but I'm going to write it in anyway because it will technically help. Technically, in the most vague sense. So this is a gray-green pair, and so we either have a corner that looks like that or a corner that looks like that. So those are sort of the two universes. We either have that corner or we have that corner. Yes, there we go. Okay, so Garion has it. So the point is, if we imagine that the loop does do this, Now the point is that this cell only counts grays up here, and so this and this are both 1s. And so that would break. So this is not the corner. And so we actually get some actual loop coming over here. And we'll do a little loop dance for the puzzle. Woohoo! Woohoo! Ba-doop! Woo! Ba-doop! Yeah, ba-doop! 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 Waha! Thank you, Zach. Thank you. So indeed, our first bit of loop does get us a 1 here and a 2 here, which gets us a gray here. My question is, do I make this cell green? I think I do for now, but I'm probably going to not respect Jesper's suggested thing for coloring. Okay, so this is at least a 2. It's not a 1 anymore. This 1 is now done. It looks like that. Oh, it's certainly right. I did not ever turn my sound off. 1 second, let me turn my sound off. If I can find it. Just so that you don't hear my occasional computer ding. There we go. So these things here are green. That one's green too, despite it being difficult. So I've got all of that. So this is a 2 or a 3 based on what this is. Let's see. If this is a 3, it makes... I think that's all okay, actually. Yeah, so if this 2 is gray, it's part of this omino. No, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. Okay. That's right. Okay, so JLib is leading me here. So if we go into our bifurcation palette and imagine that this cell is gray, now these two are both unvisited, so they're part of the same omino, which means that that's also a 2. But now what on earth is this? It's also got to be part of this domino, or we've broken country road rules. So the 2 is not unvisited. The 2 is visited. So this is never a 3. So this can only be a 1 or a 2. Now, I don't think it's a problem in general for this to be a 2. I think it's only a problem... Oh, right. If this is a 2, that's a problem. Okay, so I see it. So this is Sarah's point. If this digit's a 2, what it means is that these are both gray, and now this loop is never looping. So in fact, this is a 1. And as soon as it's a 1, great spot to... sorry, I said Sarah, but I meant Isabella. Great spot to Isabella. This is a 1 because of that. So this is a gray-green pair, which means we can put an X between them because it's a gray-green pair, so only one of them is visited. Why can't the 2 go up? Right, if the 2 goes up, it causes the same problem that we described before. If the 2 goes up, the 2 is done, and I have 2 unvisited cells across a border. So the 2 can't go up. The 2 definitely goes down. And so we get that all filled in. Maybe I will use Jesper's color palette. We will see. Yeah, so this is a 2. This is definitely visited for whatever it is worth. There's 1 over here, 2, 3, 4. This is at most 4 now because, well, these are green. So it's at most 4. Garion points out this is not a 1 or a 2, because if it was a 1 or a 2, that would break Fillomino rules, because this actually touches a 1 and a 2. So this is a 3, 4, or a 5. There's probably some magical reason why it can't be one of those, but I don't know what it is. This I know is at least 2 for whatever that is worth. So here's a thing of note. All of these are in the same omino. So this number is at least 3. Because if any 2 of these weren't in the same omino, we would have broken the rule. So this number is actually at least 3. And the most it can be is, I think, 5, actually, because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, sorry, 6. It can be as high as 6. But this is certainly out of all of those. This is also in the same... No, this is in a different omino. This is in a different omino because this number is 1 more than that one. So this number is at least 4. Oops. And at most 7. And I can actually extend my my border up there. Because of the arrow. It sees 1 more gray cell. I was about to say this has to get out, but that's not true, because it could get out up... No, it can't get out up there, because, again, I know all of these are in the same omino. I'm kind of trying to avoid doing this, but I'm just going to do it anyway, so that I can remind myself that all 3 of these are definitely in the same omino. Oh, the omino can't have size 3. If the omino had size 3, then it would be an omino with no that wasn't visited by the loop. So that's not a 3. It's in fact at least 4, actually. Assuredly, if this is a 6, that must be broken, because that would mean the loop didn't visit any of these cells. Is it obviously broken if the loop visits absolutely none of these cells? Yes. If the loop visits absolutely none of these cells, assuredly there is a border between this omino and another omino that is not visited by the loop. That does not work. So this certainly can't be a 6. So that can't be a 7. So actually... one of these is a 5, so therefore that, no, does not work. Yes, so there we go. So we are slowly zooming in. Oh, this number has become at least a little bit restricted. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's actually, well, I guess it can't be 5, but for much less sexy reasons than an oople in a row. Let's see. So, this is only 4 or 5, and it definitely needs a green cell, so it does not get to grow much larger. Okay, this is a 5 or a 6 as well, because it's in the same omino as that. For whatever that is worth. This digit's 2 more than this digit, at least. It could be 3 more. Could be 4 more, even, actually, if all of these are gray. Let's see. Let's see. Kyle says this being 5 breaks because the loop needs to enter and exit row 2 on the right side. Right. So the point is, if this is a 5, then there's only one way for the loop to get up into this row, but now wherever that one spot is doesn't matter. Just like imagine it's this and then go into the bifurcation palette. Now the loop does this, but now this loop is never finding friends, and so it's not becoming a loop. And so, yes, exactly, as Kyle says, this is not a 5, so it is a 4, and that's a 5, and that's a 5. And so if this is a 4, it needs to take a green 4 in one of this small number of cells, because it needs a green 4, or it's not going to have a successful loop life if it doesn't, or if it's not going to have it's not going to have a successful country road life if we don't find it a green 4 to be friends with. So could this cell be a green 4, and why not? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, this cell cannot be a 4 of any sort, for exactly the same reason that... Oh, no, it could be a 4 if those are the 4, right? And then we sort of loop up like that. Oh, we could fill in the digits that we know for fun, as Memrister suggests. That's true. That will get us closer to solving the puzzle in some definitional sense. Row 1, column 5 is not a 5, says Isabella. That would make... Right. It would make all of these gray, which would then make this gray, but now that's a problem, because it's now definitely created a gray border in the row. That's a little tricky to see, but let me walk through it. Isabella's point is if this digit's 5, all of these are gray. Now a loop can't enter and exit this dead end, so that's gray. But now these numbers aren't all 4. There's too many of them for them to all be 4. And so 2 of these numbers are different. But it doesn't matter at all which 2 of these numbers are different. Whichever 2 of them are different, it just immediately breaks the country road rule. So this is not a 5. Okay, same for row 4, column 5. So let's see. So, I don't think it quite works the same because that's green. Let's see, these two... is anything interesting happening with the fact that these two are both arrows? So the point is, anytime I have 2 arrows like this, they're not both gray. Because if they were both gray, that would break. So this is a gray-green pair, for whatever that's worth. I don't know what... Oh, I can do something with a gray-green pair. The thing I can do with a gray-green pair is put an X between it. Sorry, they could be a green-green pair. That's fine. Sorry, they could be a green-green pair. I don't know that they're not a green-green pair. That would be fine. They would just both be in the same thing. Never mind. But they can't be a gray-gray pair, for whatever it's worth. Probably very little. Okay. So, Isabella pointing out if this is 4, it makes all of these gray. But these can't all be gray because that, again, I can't have a gray 4 touch a gray something else. So this is never a 4. We're getting there. Bit by bit. Right. That's beautiful. Right. Memrister is completely right and has a very elegant way of saying this, which is no cell next to the 4 could ever be gray. Any cell next to the 4, if it was gray, would have to be a green 4. So it can't be gray. That's gorgeous. So all of these are in fact green, for sure, which is huge because it gets us a loop going through this segment, because this is now a corner, and gets us a loop going through this segment, because this is now a corner. And now this number... Oh, it could still be 4, annoyingly. This number, I think... that's true, yeah. The loop certainly goes down that. This number is actually now somewhat restricted, because now all of these are green as well, because loop stuff. Oh, this is green because loop stuff. This is now a maximum of 6. It's at least 2. 3, 4, 5, 6. I suspect I could do better than that if I really tried. So this has got to be gray because of this thing here. Oh, right. this thing is here because I know there's a gray cell over here. And so that's the gray cell. So in fact, the green comes down another, and that becomes green. Tristan has a point. Oh, Tristan's point was the gray there. Agree about the gray. I'm trying to think of what happens if this 5 goes here. It certainly restricts that cell if the 5 goes there. But is it possible the 5 just, like, goes down like that? I think so. Right. Alima's right. This can't be a 2. Because the point is I know that it sees those 2 plus that number. And so that number's not 0. So this is certainly never a 2. Very good. Let's see. Josh says row 2, column 5 must go down or it breaks row 2, column 4. Right. Okay, that's a trickier spot. But if this loop goes this way, the point is this has become green. All of these are gray. And now what in the world is happening, is Josh's point, is that this loop now either goes down, in which case we've got a little loop problem, or the loop comes over here, in which case then it never actually finishes looping. So it does not do that, and therefore it goes down. That was a very clever spot. So that was very cool, though. This is now at most 2, because there's just only one more cell that could be gray. So it's not 3, not it is 3. So interestingly, I think there's always a Fillomino border between these two cells, because if these were both 2, they would both be gray. So this is a weird deduction that I can't imagine is useful, but there's always a Fillomino border between these two. So therefore, one of these is green. Okay, that actually did do something. Because that Fillomino border there means one of these is green, and I only have one more green cell to fit in this row. So therefore, all of these are gray, is the point, in order to make this 4 work. And this is a gray-green pair. Do I know what order my gray-green pair goes in? I probably do. AFK with another smart point. Now the loop can never go in this cell because it will immediately dead end. So all of that is gray. Meaning all of this is one Fillomino, actually. So that Fillomino is size at least 6, actually. So this is a 6, 7, 8, or 9. Because all of these have to be in the same omino. Which means it's not the same as this omino, and it's not the same as that omino. Because this omino is much too large, and so therefore these are both green, because they touch a gray cell across a Fillomino border. Cells could be bigger than 9, Memrister, if there were more than 9 gray cells for this to see. However, there are not more than 9 cells for this to see, so therefore it is that. So therefore, because of the 4, this is gray. And so that is going to finish that loop doing that stuff. Going through there. I apologize, I have missed some points and done this, I think, a completely different way than the way that chat was doing it. Sorry, I don't know that there's a border anywhere other than there. Okay. So So now this digit's a 3, points out Nicholas, because it now just counts those, and so that's a 3, and this is a 5, just because of that. A smart point from KNT, this can't really be 9 or 8, if I really want to think about it, because if this was 9 or 8, those would just split the grid down this diagonal, and assuredly I must know the loop visits below the diagonal. In fact, I do know the loop visits below the diagonal, because of this. So, in fact, this can't be 8 or 9, and in fact, actually, how many times must the loop cross the diagonal? The loop must cross the diagonal an even number of times, right? So this is definitely a 7. To allow... Yes, I think this is definitely a 7 in order to allow... I mean, it's not a 6, so it's obviously a 7. I didn't even need the parity part. It just had to be a 7. Because it can't be a 6, because then it wouldn't have any green cells in it. And so by the meme-rister trick from before, both of these cells are green, because they're either part of the 7 omino, or they're not, and either way they're green. What do you mean by doesn't necessarily cross an even number of times? Doesn't a loop cross every line an even number of times? I think a loop crosses every line an even number of times. You can't cross the diagonal 3 times. How are you making a loop that crosses the diagonal 3 times? Right. These are not both gray. Garion, only if the loop... Oh, right. Okay, so the point is, it definitely crosses it twice. It crosses it an even number of times, but it can bounce off it. So for people who are trying to follow along with this conversation, here's what can happen. I can have a diagonal here. My loop certainly crosses this diagonal an even number of times by virtue of being a loop, but it can do that. And doing this does count as visiting the diagonal, but doesn't count as crossing it. That's the point. Okay, I see it. Let's go back because I did a bunch of nonsense. Oops. That part was right. Okay, this cell's green by my argument from before, because if we do that... Well, now we can't do that, right? But people were right to call bullshit on my parity argument, which was beautiful but wrong. This is not gray, because if this is gray, these two numbers are different, because this is one more, and therefore that's 2 cells that are across a country road that do the thing. No, Garion, because that would be a region unvisited by the loop. No, Tristan, because that would be a region unvisited by the loop. So we've got all of that, which is pretty cool. These are in the same omino, for whatever that's worth. This can annoyingly be a 4. One of these is a 4. Wait, no, that can't be a 4. Oh, wow, yeah, that can't be a 4. That's awesome. Okay, so this can't be a 4 for the funny reason that if this is a 4, it then enters and leaves the 5 omino, because now the 5 comes here. That doesn't work. So this is not a 4, or anything but a 5. It is a 5. And so therefore that's the 4. And my 4 omino is done. Okay, so know that there. I can get rid of this stuff. I don't need those X's anymore. I don't actually need this line anymore. Yes, so the 3 escapes. Good point. Yes, thank you, Josh. I was doing all this for a reason, and then I forgot. So the 3 goes there, for sure. These... Oh, right. I already know there's a Fillomino border. I was going to reprove that there was a Fillomino border there. Good point from Kyle. This is only 1 or 2 because of what we know about this row now. So there's no 3 or 4 here. Let's see. Nicholas would like me to look at row 2, column 7. Hard to know what to do with that other than fill in the 2. So got that. This has been absolutely lovely so far, by the way. The comments made it sound like this was not going to be necessarily lovely. Like, oddly, the puzzle is rated at 90%, and then the comments are a lot of people talking about how they bifurcated, which is a very weird combination, a very LMD sort of combination to have. But this is delightful. I have enjoyed this. I'm glad I set Denver before trying to do this, because there's no universe in which I could do this without having gone through that experience. Oh, I mean, I'm sure it gets worse, but the just the beginning is nice. Don't yet understand people's claims about this. Because row 3, column 7 is green. Ah, yes, this is green because I put a loop in it, and then I didn't actually put a loop in it. Good, good. So this loop definitely goes down here, because if the loop doesn't go down here, then it does that. And so that's no good. So that loop goes down here. And so this is a 1, is chat's point. So there we go. So this could go either direction. Ah, yes, this is... Nico points out this is a corner now. So we have that going through there. So here's the point from Josh. There's only 2 cells on the diagonal, so this loop must cross the diagonal at both of those. This is a cell on the diagonal, and therefore we must cross the diagonal here. Is that the point? Do we believe that? I want to double check that I believe that argument. Oh, it could cross by doing that. I think I believe. Yeah, I guess I think it could do... I think the thing it can't do is that. Because if it does this, it bounces off the diagonal without crossing, and that's not going to work. That's going to lead to a loop that doesn't cross the diagonal twice. And so because it doesn't do that, it does that. As Memerister says, well, we know half of that. We know that part. And so now because of that, this we now know what it does. It now does that. So let's see. Dorlier says row 4, column 5 is now only 3. Yes, it is now only 3. Gorgeous. Good spot. This is now only 3 because it's at most 3 and it's not a 1 or a 2. Why is this cell gray? I don't think this cell is gray because it's gray. I think it's gray because I hit a button. So because of this being a 3, all of these turn gray, which now actually does force this through like that. Yes, that deduction, that deduction made that whole razzmatazz much easier. The loop comes down, this turns green. Let's see. Okay, now this number can't be a 3. Because if this number was a 3, it would be, it would make all of these gray, and that would gray both sides of a border. So because this number's not a 3, there's a Fillomino boundary here, and the 3 must get out, because the 3 can't go anywhere else. This number's more than 3. And so it is therefore 4, 5, 6, or 7. Kyle says that's wrong. Oh, right. Sorry, I did not do that correctly. A 3 here would make all of these green, not gray, which is okay. Everything can be green. Green is fine. But in other news, this is a corner. So let's do the easier thing first and put in our corner, which has made this green. So this is 3, 4, 5, or 6 now. That's a good spot. So Ranks points out these two are both the same digit, and so they're not both 3. So the thing that they both are is not 3, so we can put in a border there and fill in the 3 here. So we can get that up there. These are, again, they're both the same, and they're not both 2 either. So this 2 certainly goes down here and finishes. So they're not 1, 2, 3, or 4. They're at least 5. And at most, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they're at most 6. So these are 5 or 6 only. So this is only 5 or 6. So that actually earns me the deduction that I tried to make before, which is that this is not part of the 3. Hey, Mavir. So this is a 3 down here. So we've got all of that. I mean, this is probably the 7, but who knows? This is 5 or 6, which is pretty interesting for the amount of gray that it's going to put in this row. Let's see. It definitely is scary, and I have many people in chat warning me that the back half of the puzzle is going to be less pretty than the front half, but the front half is very pretty. So 5 or 6. If this is 6, all of that turns gray, but I don't know that that's immediately a problem. Oh, if it's a 6, it makes all of this gray, and then that's just nonsense. Yes. So MicroStudy is right. If this is a 6, it makes all of this gray, and now the loop doesn't actually get to cross this line the right number of times. This end ends up stranded. So this is not a 6. It is a 5. So we have that. I have seen a number of people say that they like number 2. I assume number 2 is not appropriate for stream, though. Can T says row 4, column 6, something, goes left, otherwise the diagonal is done. Right, because otherwise it goes down. And so it would have to cross, and now these two connect, and I haven't involved these. Wow, that's cool. Okay, so this is KNT's point. So, beautifully, only 2 cells on the entire diagonal are green. Both of those must therefore be places where the loop crosses the diagonal, because the loop always needs to cross the diagonal an even number of times. A loop crosses every line an even number of times. However, if this cell becomes green, then that means the loop crosses here, and now it connects with itself over down here somewhere, and these become isolated. So the loop can't go down here, the loop must turn left, and that is awesome. So that's green. And I love it. I really enjoy the bit with the diagonal having to get hit twice because of all of these being gray, and what all of the loop-like implications that means. That's masterful setting. So now the fact that this is a 5 tells me that these are both gray. And so we should remember that that means that all of these are in the same omino. And so this path continues down because it can't go into the gray, because that's literally the definition of gray. Why can this not be a 5? I don't see why this can't be a 5. Oh, right, because all of these are in the same omino, because of literally the reason I just said. Yes, AFK is completely right. These are all in the same omino, and so if I make this a 5, I also make all of these a 5, and now my 5 omino has 7 cells in it. So therefore, that's the 5. Got it, got it. I eventually got there. I don't need this X anymore. Oops. Oh, also, actually, these are all in the same omino as well, for whatever that is worth. Ah. No. I don't quite know what's happening there yet. These two I know are in the same omino, but I don't think that's going to help me in any sort of immediate kind of way. This number's at least 3, and at most some number larger than that. Ah, this 5 omino can only go into gray cells now, because the I think this is what Garion is pointing out to me. I only get gray stuff for, where this 5 omino goes. So that suggests the 5 omino probably wants to go there, but it could go here if this is gray, I believe. Don't know yet. Oh, right, they're not necessarily in the same omino, because that could be the 7, right. Ah, right. Josh points out this 5 omino has 3 cells already, so these can't be the 5s, so therefore this is a 5 and it's gray. And that gray certainly can't join here, because that would put 2 grays next to each other, so that's green. This has to be green as well, because it's a 5, and that's a 3. And so that has to be the other 5. In order for my 5 omino to fix, because I need to not put any more green in my 5 omino. So Nicholas is pointing out we've got a new corner there. So those are both green. It's at least 3. Can it actually be 3? No, it can't be 3. Of course it can't be 3. But I don't know, right. I don't know that it doesn't sort of branch out over there. Right. This 3 is visited, and so we have to do the little dance to stay in there. Otherwise, this won't be visited, or it will visit the region twice, both of which are bad. This touches a 5, so it's not a 5. I don't think it can be a 4 either. Oh, no, 4 is fine. 4 actually looks good in terms of what it would do over down here. Right. Everything here touches green, as MicroStudy points out. So these things are all green. This loop has only one place to go, so it comes here. And that's my last time on the diagonal. So very, very smart. So if you bet Unvisited by Loop Tree, you successfully got Unvisited by Loop Tree. So congratulations to all Unvisited by Loop Tree bettors. So this can't do that because it wouldn't cross the gap, and it needs to. So therefore, it always does that. I don't know exactly which way it does it. I just know it does that. It goes down here that way. So excuse me. Smart spot from AFK to notice that, yes, now a loop can't come in here because it would be a dead end. Likewise here. So these are both gray. Much appreciated. So this is at least 4 for whatever it is worth. See, Martin has a point about column 6. Oh, it needs 5 grays beneath the 5. Oh, ooh, spicy. Very good. So now if this is gray, my loop doesn't loop stuff. So this has got to be green. And in fact, in order to do this, it's got to pass through exactly like that. Wait, did we really do that right? There's no way, right? There's no way that I'm going to say all of this is gray, am I? No, I think I have to. I think it's right. I think it's just a giant gray region. I think it's just going to be a very boring Fillomino. Okay. This is assuredly large enough that it can't join that, because this is a maximum of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12. This is a maximum of 12. This is way more than 12. So this is phenomenologically not in the same cell as that, and therefore it's green, because otherwise we'd have 2 unvisited Fillominos across the thingy thing. So we have thingy of that, and it's a corner. So we get to do that. Okay, and so now... Oh, I guess this gets 3 down there. So this is a pretty large thing going on there. So I think it's being pointed out this is always a 6 or a 7 by chat. Okay. If these connect, I now isolate this part again. So these can't actually connect. I cannot do that. Because again, if I connect these now, I'll just do it in the bifurcation palette. If I connect these now, my loop has entered and left the part above the diagonal, except I've still got some stuff I haven't claimed, and I'm not allowed to come back. So therefore, this goes that way. This goes that way. This is green. I can get rid of that X. This is certainly not a 3 anymore because this doesn't work. So that's the 3. The 3 can't expand to here because that would be visited more than once. So we get to do all of that sort of 3-aging, if you will. Now this has no choice but to do that. That probably has updated some other clues in some way that I have not paid attention to. So this is at most 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This digit's at most 5, and at least 3. No, at least 4. So this is only 4 or 5. Those are the only options for what this cell is. That is my belief, at least. You're welcome to have different opinions about whether this can be other numbers than 4 or 5. Yeah, I was just going to look at that, Josh. If this is a 4, now we've got a problem, because if this is a 4, that's making all of those gray, and now the loop is forced to finish. But that would make all of this also part of this gray, and that's not going to work. So this can't be 4 anymore, because basically, if I just sort of imagine filling in this as 4, then it makes all of these gray, and now my loop finishes here, and now all of this gains the gigantic morass down here, and that's a problem. So it's not a 4. Okay, let's do counting with microstudy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then it's either 6 or it's 7, right? I think it's 6 or 7. Okay. The omino at the top right, you were looking at this one? So this is at most 5 and at least 2. So 2, 3, 4, 5. But it's not 2 and it's not 5. So this is 3 or 4. Okay, how do I know whether... Oh, and it's not 3, because all these are in the same omino. It's a 4. Right. All of these are 4. It's the trick. The reason is because if this were a 3 omino, it's not visited by the loop. It's the same trick again. And so by the other same trick again, that has to be green, because if it's gray, it either is a 4, in which case the region's unvisited by the loop, or the only other option is that it's gray and it's a different number, but that's breaking the country road rules. And so we can fill that in like that. I have no idea how I'm not getting a 4, 7. I mean, I guess the point is by uniqueness, the 4 doesn't go there, because if the 4 went there, you'd have a 4, 7 deadly pattern thing. I'm not going to use uniqueness, but I believe that's true. It certainly is true that this is a 3 or a 7. But sorry, this is a 4 or a 7. But there's no reason why you can't reverse the 4, 7 between those. Let's see. Kurobon's pointing out the loop can't visit here anymore because this is now a dead end. So this is gray. Agree. Oh, the 4 doesn't actually touch that cell. AFK has pointed out. Beautiful. This is known. It's being claimed. I'll let microstudy tell me, but I believe it's a 6. So it gets 2 or 1 green cells. It has to get a green cell at least, but it could get 2. Oh, this is also fillable? It's 2 plus 3, it's 5. Chat is wonderful for that sort of thing. Garion pointing out, because of this clue, I know that exactly 2 of these are gray, but because exactly 2 of these are gray, this clue is a 3. That's gorgeous. Very nice. So yeah, 2 of these are gray. This is a 6, 7, 8, or 9. Right. I know which two are gray, Nico points out. Because so let's just go through the possibilities. There's 3 possibilities. If these two are gray, it creates a dead end, so that's not going to work. If these two are gray, it creates a dead end down there, so that doesn't work. So therefore, these two are gray, and that's green, and it's a corner, and so it does that. And so this is also green. Is the point. Very well said. So therefore, this piece turns here. Therefore, this continues back that way to avoid that. I did get the row 6, column 7 corner this time. So this can't come down any... Oh, no, it can come down because this can be a 1. Can this be a 2? I don't think there's any way this is a 2. Oh, no, there is a way this is a 2, which is if those two connect and this does that. Never mind. Okay. So this is only a 3 or a 4, if I count correctly. Right, okay, so this number, remember, is gigantic. It's at least umpteen. So this omino definitely does not extend into any clued cells, which cannot be as large as umpteen. So that is 57 thorns pointing out. And certainly also 3, 4, and 6, 7, 8, 9 are different numbers. So there's definitely a border there. And so this 6, 7, 8, 9 omino certainly extends out in that direction for whatever that is worth. This number, actually, being pointed out by Martin, is at least 7, 8, 9, 10. This is a minimum of 10. In particular, it's not a 3 or a 4. So therefore, my 3, 4 extends up here. Yeah, this is at least 10, so it's actually not the same. It's not the same as that, because this is definitely at least 10, which means it's not the same as this. So this 6, 7, 8, 9, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm just going to call this X for now, if it will let me. It will. So this X is going to have to get out to here. Oops, sorry. I meant to lowercase the X. It looks a little less offensive that way. So this 6, 7, 8, 9 is going to have to keep going out, and it's going to have to keep going out at least to there, which means the X is going to have to keep going out to there. X. Oh, sorry, center mark X. Right, I think all of that is correct, which of course gives us more barriers there, more barriers there. The 6, 7, 8, 9 is now known. Row 9, column 7 can't be a 3. Right. Grays can't have a border with grays, so these are definitely green. That's the thing I'm missing. And so this is a corner. Okay, thank you. Chat was seeing this all over, and I was just missing it. So yeah, so we get that going on. These two I know are in the same omino, so the loop has to connect through there, because otherwise it'll visit that twice. And that's not allowed. Now, this number is only a 7 or an 8. With that, I believe that. Right, and now if this is a 3, where is it growing? Only to a space next to a 3, because it's not x. So it's not a 3, it's a 4. Okay, got it. If this is a 4... Oh, that's just telling you one more of these is gray. Who knows? That doesn't sound useful. I have another arrow. How is this arrow useful? Oh, very good, Jay. I'm enjoying this a lot. I think we're now nearing the part that people have warned me I'm going to hate. Row 9. That one. Yes, there's an arrow here. I see it. Yes, so this arrow has a 4 in it, and it points at 3 gray cells, so that has to be gray. That's the point. So there we go. So that cell's gray. For whatever that is worth. It is at least it's at least worth that it pushes that there, which then pushes this here. Okay, so that's doing something. So that's green. And so these are both green now because of this 4, because this 4 now sees 4. So those are both green. Good. Oh yes, all of these we know are 7/8, because they're all this is all one region. Right, and because this is all one region and that's visited, it tells me the loop has to do at least that. Which tells me that this is unvisited. This is visited and is a corner now. So this is unvisited. These are visited. That's visited. And so now my loop must finish like that. So this is unvisited. There's no way that these aren't both 4s, right? There's no way. The 4 can't grow into this. So I think the 4 is forced. I think the 4 has to be that. Like that. The 3 actually can't grow up anymore, because if the 3 grows up, it's double visited. So that's a 3, and in fact, that's a 3 as well, because the 3 also can't go and become infinity. Certainly my x grows up to here at least. I don't know how much further the x is going to grow. I actually know what x is now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. X actually is 10, so x is perfect, actually. These two now have to be in the same region, is the point. Because if these are not in the same region, we've broken the rules. So, in fact, my region goes at least up to here, but now it is 8 cells. And so we actually learned that, in fact, this is I could have just counted. Well, I like my proof better. Shut up. I miscounted. It's actually 7. Well, still, whatever. We got that part. I counted to 8 very well. Okay. so we've got that. Okay, so the x is 10. If that's not an x, my x is not getting to 10. Because if that's not an x, then my x is now capped at 8. That time I think I counted to x correctly, possibly. I won't make any too strong claims, but I think that's actually an x. And if that's actually an x, it means all of these are x as well, because it's not allowed to leave the region. And so now I'm at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The only place it can grab another cell is there, and that is 10, and that completes our exomino. So we have that. So this cell... Right. So the point is, in these 3 cells, I have 1, 4, and 1, 7, and I have one more cell that can only possibly be a 1, and the only question is where's the 1, and the only place for the 1 is not next to something that's already a 1, so the point is the 1 goes there. And once the 1 goes there, the 4 only has that direction to go, and so the 7 only has that direction to go. Okay. This has become a 2, by the way, funnily enough. So we can fill in that. Now... Now, the impression I get is that for maximum enjoyment, I should stop at exactly this part of the puzzle. But we will shoulder on and try and make it. I think there are no more clues. I don't think we get clues anymore. So I think we now just have to... I think we now just have to look at what happens here and figure it out. So remember, this absolutely gigantic region needs to be visited by the loop. And so if this green goes that way... Oh no, if the green goes this way, the loop could come up and grab that. I don't actually know. Adding anti-knight at this point does seem like a positive. It will really help with the 5 ominoes if we add anti-knight. Right. I know all of these are 6s, so I might as well at least write the 6s in. Oh god. Garion suggesting maybe there's a negative constraint on arrows that we can use. Hey, Zagress, how are you doing? We're doing an absolutely lovely, impressive Fillomino Country Road style puzzle. I mean, the size of this just doesn't matter. It's big, and it needs a green. We could perhaps add a given digit, J. And one of these two is a 5, for whatever that's worth. They could maybe both be 5s. So basically the loop either comes down here or it doesn't. Let's see. KNT says the 5 is not allowed to take any cells off the loop. So the 5 certainly can't take any cells off the loop that border this or border that. I feel like the 5 could take a cell off the loop if it's exactly one of these 3 cells. But of course, I can only make like one total of these 3 cells off the loop. Otherwise, I disconnect the loop, and that doesn't work. But I do feel like a few of those could be could work. So I do believe KNT's easier version, which is that if this is not a 5, the 5 now has to do something untoward. Because if this is not a 5 now, the 5 has to back up here and has to come out here. It certainly can't go up. So then the 5 has to come over here, but now we've completely isolated our loop, because in this universe, both of these are gray and the world is broken. So this is certainly a 5. I 100% believe that. Yeah, so if the loop comes here and this is a 5, we have a big problem. So the loop certainly can't go... So I think... Let me pull up the bifurcation palette. I think if the loop does this, then it of course does this. And now this is green. It must be part of this region, this ridiculous region. And now my 5 goes up and touches the 6. That doesn't work. So it's a little bit of a look ahead, but the loop can't do that thing I just said. So the question is, can the loop go up? It sounds like that's going to be even worse to me. If the loop goes up, I'm now going to... Yeah, if the loop goes up, where is the 5 getting an extra cell? Because if the loop goes up, I still need to get this omino to get a green cell, which is going to have to be exactly in this cell. It's going to have to grow around that. So that cell's part of the gigantic region. This is a 5, and now 5 can only take a gray cell there. That's the full unbifurcation proof, but it's probably not a very good full unbifurcation proof. Or it could go up here like this. So, actually, that might work. I actually think that works. I think if I just do this, I think it just works. Because now this thing can sneak in and take that cell. The 6 takes both of those, the 5 takes both of those, and I think it works. So I think that's actually the answer. I think the thing we actually have to break is that the loop does that. And so the point is, if the loop does this, I certainly can't make both of these 5. So that's not 5. That's part of the big region there. And so I need to sneak at least one gray 5 up here. The gray 5 could only go there. But then the point is that we have a problem, because these cells either are both gray and they're different numbers, which would be a problem, or they're both green, in which case the 5 can't do 5 stuff. I'm gonna be completely honest, this doesn't bother me as much as people thought it would. There's like, this is definitely in the like knife fighting in a phone booth sort of part of the puzzle, where it's a little look aheady, but also there's literally only one piece of the grid to look at. So I mean, it's ugly, but it's not ugly in a way I find offensive for the puzzle to resolve this way. So yeah, okay. So So KNT has the history here. So the history is this was originally posted without this clue, and so this clue makes this part a little bit less unpleasant than it was before. Okay, that makes sense. Because yeah, I based on the comments, I was expecting something a million times worse, and so all the comments are from before this clue was there. Okay, it all makes sense now. So we have this coming up here. This is green. I want to carefully think about this. The 5 certainly can't extend down to there. So we have that. The 5 certainly can't extend over to there either, because of that. So one of these two is a 5, and in fact, even if that one's a 5, it still forces this one to be a 5. The loop still needs to touch this, and that can only possibly happen at this cell. So this cell is loop, and it's the loop that is being gotten by the giant region. And so our giant omino is now done. Sorry, I guess it's not now done. It now at least grabs that. No? What did I do? I agree that's broken. And I agree that I had it right before. So something went wrong. What did I do wrong? Remember row 5. Right. Sorry. Right. This is not the cell. That breaks very quickly because it forces a gray 5 next to a gray 6. The point is, that's the cell. Sorry. So this cell can't be visited, because if this cell is visited, we run into the problem where now my 5 and 6 both sort of meet there. So we have to do that, is the point. And so this ends up at least taking up to there. All of these are gray. And so my 5 certainly needs to take... yeah, right. My 5 needs to take both of these because there's no other cells it can take. The puzzle has more of a break out than a break in. That is very fair. So these are both 6. And then we can go ahead and fill in this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So congratulations to all the 24 bettors out there. May all your betting tree wishes come true. I know you 24 bettors out there are really people who sort of are living on a hope and a prayer, and I know your bets don't pay off very often. So this time, I hope you greatly enjoy your victory and truly enjoy all of your betting tree wishes. The betting tree fairy will definitely be visiting you tonight. I do enjoy how that's the conflict checkers complaint, is that I can't put 4 in those cells. Every other digit's fine. The 2s, everything else, conflict checker is funny at times. This is one of the times where conflict checker is doing something that is difficult for me to imagine what the algorithmic way it decided that this was the thing to do was. But anyway, weird futzy ending aside, I loved the puzzle, and I was not unhappy about the weird futzy ending. My favorite part was definitely the keeping track of X is the Roman numeral for 10, Ambrose. So my favorite part was that you learned very early that this diagonal was crossed exactly twice. And so we got to do a lot of interesting logic, and in fact, both times we found a cell that was green on the diagonal. It was very exciting, because then you knew that there had to be a crossing and not a bouncing or anything like that. Excellent puzzle. One of my favorites that I've done so far this year, even though I know that this is a 10,000-year-old puzzle. But very cool, very memorable. I will probably have to do the sequel off stream because I'm going to guess the sequel would take me a stream and a half to do. But I am told that if you enjoyed this, the sequel is even better. So you may want to have a look into that. All right. But for now, I'm going to take a quick break, and I will be back shortly. So see you all very soon. Welcome back. So it turns out that Tallcat made a quadruple Renban puzzle, and therefore we're going to do a quadruple Renban puzzle. Because, well, Renban and quadruples are both two S-tier sudoku mechanics. So what more could you want than a sudoku Renban? All right. So what is happening in this puzzle, just in case you've never seen Sudoku and Renban? By the way, can you get me a bet tree microstudy if you tested it? Maybe, perhaps. If not, that's okay. But if you have a bet tree available, that would be appreciated. So the way a Renban works is that you always need to fill in a string of consecutive digits, but you can fill them in any order that you like. So, for example, that order would be perfectly fine. It's 2, 3, 4, 5, but you don't have to put them in the 2, 3, 4, 5 order. There is an official zetamath tiering of Sudoku mechanics that was quite controversial at the time. I don't know if it's posted as a clip or if you just have to find the stream where I did it. So that's that. And then these quads tell you digits that appear in the thing. So they tell you 2 and 8 appear here. Or if you prefer, what they really tell you is that 2 and 8 don't appear in any of those cells because they have to be over there. Row 6, column 5, I have been told, is our recommended bet tree. And so that is it. That's all of the things. All right. So I'm noticing that because of this 6, 7, 8 quadruple, there's a 6, 7, or 8 in one of these cells. So therefore, whatever that 6, 7, 8 is, it's not on this thing, this Renban, because because it's not. And so therefore that digit and every digit higher than it is not on this Renban. So what that means is that in these 5 cells, there's always an 8 and a 9. Now, I don't know if that 8 lines up with this or not, because it might actually be on here, but there's always an 8 and a 9 sort of over down here. And therefore, although I hate marking this kind of thing, there's always a 4 on this Renban. This is the kind of thing that is useful 2% of the time and just a bunch of stray pencil marks the other percentage of the time, but every once in a while, it will be perfectly useful. So I will certainly mark it, but I will expect that it won't ever do anything until we know a little bit more. So we've got that. Oh, it actually does do something. It does do something. It notably means there's not a 4 up here, so there is a 4 down here. Very nice. That's very, very Tallcatty. We're Tallcatting already. So that 4 puts a 4 over here on this this quad, which now means that this is only from 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And so definitely contains 6, 7, and 8. Interestingly enough. So we have all of that. So this Renban either has a 4 that's exactly here or is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the question I have is, why does this being 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 break immediately, which must be what happens, right? I don't see why it breaks immediately if it doesn't have a 4. Oh, there's always a 2 or 3 in these cells, is Tallcat's point. Very smart of Tallcat to notice this. Because of this 2, 3, 4, the 4 is down there, so there's always a 2 or a 3 down here. And what that means is that you can't put whether that be 2 or 3, you can't put 1 and 2 on this. So in fact, actually, we can add a 1 and a 2 down here, for sure. And so now these digits are only actually from 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so therefore they always contain a 5 and a 6 as well. And so if you look at that, between these two, that tells me there's always a 6 on this and always a 6 on this, which tells me there's always a 6 on this Renban, and we have a digit. And so let me go over that Jovi Wing magic. So the Jovi Wing magic here is that I know where the 6 is in row 1 and in row 2, and that I know that one of them is here and one of them is here. And therefore, where is the 6 in row 3? It's in one of these 3 cells. But equally well, you could also ask, where is the 6 on this quadruple? And so it's not there, and it's not there, so it's there. And so we get to do our 60 dance. Boo boo ba doo. Woo 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 doo. Boo doo ba doo. Boo doo ba doo. Woo doo ba doo. Woohoo! Body bit up. Body bit up. Maha! Body bit up. Body bit up. Waha! Thank you, Zach. Thank you. Very 6y, as always. So we have a 6 there. Right. And so now this 6, Tristan points out, sees all 3 of those cells. And so we get a 6 on this quad as well. Very nice. There's a 2 and an 8 hanging out around these parts. So the 5 on this quadruple always sees these cells. So these 2 cells are never 5, which is fascinating because it means the 5 in this box is up here. Which means that the 5 between this Renban and this box align, which means there's no 5 over here. And so just to go over that again, there's a 5 in one of these 3 cells. No matter which of these 3 cells is 5, it guarantees that neither of these is 5, and also 6 isn't 5. So that pushes the 5s into another Jovi Wing alignment up here. So these are actually 6, 7, 8. This is actually a 6, 7, 8, 9 quadruple, which means these are actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know some of those that aren't 4. Let's see. Okay, so now, does that help me with any additional stories? Probably. It certainly tells me there's a 1 and a 2. Aha, yes, it does. Because now where do 1 and 2 go in row 1? 1 and 2 in row 1 go up here. And so if 1 and 2 in row 1 go up here, where do 1 and 2 go on this quad? Not there. So 1 and 2, in fact, go over here. These are not 3 or 5. That one's not 4 either. So in fact, that is the 4. This isn't 1 or 2. That's not 1 or 2. One of these is 3. And so, in fact, actually, now I've got some 3s there and some 3s there that are doing Jovi Wing stuff to push 3 onto this Renban up in this, up here. And so that pushes 7 off of the Renban. And so, in fact, this is a 3, 4, 5, 6 Renban. The 3's not down there. Okay, and so these we can go ahead and fill in. Are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like that. And now, in this 2, 3, 4 Renban, or sorry, this 2, 3, 4 quad is now interesting, because you'll notice in these 2 cells, the only digit I can possibly place out of all of those is a 2. And so none of these are 2. And so there's definitely a 2 here, and these 2 are a 3, 4 pair. Is the point of all of this. So So these are a 3-4 pair. If this is a 3, though, there's a huge problem, which is that if this is a 3, there's no place to actually put a 4 on this Renban. Because this Renban can't have 4s there and can't have a 4 there, so this can't be the 3. So that's the 4 and that's the 3. So no 3 there, no 4 there. That 2 looks over there and makes that a 1 and a 2. This is now a 5, just because I need a 5 on this quad at all. So no 1s there. So the 1's actually in those cells, for whatever that is worth. Right. So AFK has a good spot, which is where does 5 go in row 3 now? Because that 5 can't again repeat there. So the 5 always goes there, and that's a 3. Very good spot. So these numbers here definitely include a 3. In fact, actually, they just include the 3 on this quadruple outright. I don't even have to think about it. But they don't include a 2 because there's a 2 looking over. So this is 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a 7, just as a gimme. So no 7 there. That's a 2, 8, 9 triple now. So these aren't 8 or 9. They're a 1, 7 pair. So that's not a 7. I probably don't need the 8 or 9 corner marks. 1, 8, or I really probably don't need the 8 or 9 corner marks up there. So we have that. So this is very nice. Okay. Right. So the point is now this 6, 7, 8 quad needs a 7, and the only place it's getting it is there. So that's actually the 7 and the 1. So there's a 1 over in one of these 2 cells, and it wouldn't be a Tallcat puzzle if it could go there. But I don't see why it can't go there immediately. Oh, I do see why it can't go there immediately, and that's gorgeous. The 1 can't go here, because if this is a 1, these are 2, 3, 4. And so then those can't be 2, 3, 4. And then these all have to be 2, 3, and 4. And I can't put 2, 3, and 4 in 2 cells. So as expected, that's a 1. So one of these is a 1. So if this is a 1 now, I have to ask the same Tallcat question. If this is a 1, these are 2, 3, 4. So that would be the 2. These would be a 3, 4 pair. That doesn't... It would force a 3, 4 here. It doesn't feel like a thing. So I'm not quite sure I know where this 1 is yet. Hey, Marty, welcome. I hope you're doing well. Always great to see what I think are new names around the channel. If this is a 1, these would be a 2, 8 pair, which is kind of interesting. So there's a 4 over here. Let me mark that while I'm noticing that that 4 is looking down and making one of these a 4. Which is putting a 4 up into one of these cells. And a 5 over here, Tristan points out. Very smart. So yeah, one of those 2's a 5. I don't think we have a rules command, Marty, but be nice. But you're welcome to you're absolutely welcome to help with if you see something in puzzles or whatever. If there's any other rules you're unsure about, let me know. But we're pretty chill. 2 in column 1, Garion is looking at. Okay, so 2 in column 1. Right, if I put a 2 on here, then I've again put 2, 3, and 4 in here, which rules them off of here. Gorgeous. So 2 goes here, which makes this a 2, 5, 7 triple, because I need to put 2, 5, and 7 into these, which makes these some other sort of unorthodox triple. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 9 is what they are. They are 6, 8, and 9. Let's see. So, this being a 9. Oh! This Renban needs a 5. And there's only one place it can go. Because that can't be a 5, and the 5 in this box is here. That's not a 5, apparently, because of the 5, 7 triple. Yeah, that's a 5. So that's something. So now... what I do, Derlear, is I let people, give me permission to do their puzzles, and then I do puzzles from people who have let me. I try and keep up to date. Usually when people tell me I can do their puzzles, they'll give me a link to their LMD page, and so I can see on there sort of what's around that that is available. So usually I don't take submissions directly, except from high tier patrons. But if someone says, "Hey, you can do my puzzles, and I think you might like that," and I think you might like this one, that's fine as well. So beautiful spot from chat. I'm not sure who originally saw this, but I've been seeing it in the background as I have these other conversations. There's an 8 or 9 on this Renban because I need a second 8, 9 in column 1. And that's going to be very interesting because it's going to go down here, which is going to make this from 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And in particular, that's going to nail that digit's a 3 because I need to put a 3 in this column somewhere and it's not going anywhere else. And then I need to put a 4 in this column somewhere. And it needs to go there because it's not going anywhere else. And I suspect this looks suspiciously like the exact Renban I filled out at the beginning. So that 5, 6 pair places a 6 over there. Making those a 7, 8, 9. And making these, well, these certainly aren't 5 anymore. So these are 1, 2, 4, apparently. These are something, something, something. We did get a 3 in the corner animation. That is a fully implemented feature now. You get a 3 in the corner you get a 3 in the corner dance. One of these two is an 8. I don't know if I can do anything with that, but it's true. One of them is an 8. I still wanted to see if the world breaks if this is a 9. So if this is a 4, it forces these to be a 3, 2, which would then force these to be a 3, 2. But I don't necessarily see a problem with that, unfortunately. That I can see. Small point, this is not a 2. 100% agree with your small point, Nico. Might as well update it. It'll turn out to be useful later. Probably, possibly. One of these 2 cells is a 5, but I'm kind of afraid to mark that. Right, there's no 2s in these cells. Is being pointed out because there's a 2 over there and a 2 over here. So the 2 in this box is down here, which means the 1 in this box is actually in one of these cells. Is a beautiful point. That was made by someone in chat that I lost track of, which is made by Michael. Let's see. So and this doesn't have a 5 either, actually. So it does not have 1 and it does not have 5. And it doesn't have a 2 either, so it's not 2, 3, 4. So actually, yeah, this Renban is quite restricted. Because it doesn't have a 1 or a 5, so the only thing it could be is 2, 3, 4 if it's below 5. But it can't be 2, 3, 4 because the 2 is down there. So actually, this is from 6, 7, 8, 9. And so we actually get that. And we, in fact, actually learn that this always has a 7 and an 8 for people who are into that kind of thing. Which tells me that actually because of the 8 over here, I need to put an 8 in this row. It can only go down here. It can't go there. So 8 down there. Oh yeah, I probably have not gotten a chance to comprehend your Discord message yet, but I did see I got one from someone earlier. By the way, someone asked about the next complex analysis zetamath video. It is in process. The audio was recorded last June, I believe, but the animation has proven more difficult than one might hope. But it will happen, for sure. It might just be a little bit longer. Good spot from Martin. One of these two is a 7, because that one's not the 7 because of that 7, so that's not a 7, so it's a 5. Which has the benefit of making this a 2-7 pair, which gets rid of the 7 over here. But this Renban definitely is not complete without a 7, so there's definitely a 7 over here. So there's a 6 and an 8 in here, right? Because if there's no 8 on this Renban, we don't have enough digits. We'd have to be from 5. We'd have to be a 5, 6, 7 length 4 Renban. So one of these is an 8, which makes that a 9. Also, somehow this randomly became a 6 and a 5. So that all works out. So these are just 5, 6, 8. That's not a 6. 7 looks leftlier, right? The 7 does look leftlier. So the 7 looks all the way leftly over there. The leftliest, if you will. These digits have some numbers in them. Let's see, Mark will tell us what they are. They're 1, 2, 8, and 9. I'll be honest, that doesn't really do anything for me, but I'm sure it does something for someone out there. We should certainly fill in these, keeping in mind that there are no 8s in any of these cells, nor are there any 6s. So these are from 1, 2, 3, 8, 9. Unfortunately, these seem to be able to be a 2-3 pair, as best I can tell. Still, even though that's the option I would prefer they not be. 2 and the 2-8 quad, Sayori is telling me I should look at. Yes, 2 and the 2-8 quad. Beautiful. Well spotted. So that 2 looks over here, knocks it out of there, and places the 2 there. Good spot to Sayori. I'm trying to look for this is a 189 triple now. So that's just a 7, and that's just a 6. And that's probably an 8 if it's going to make that work. Beautiful spot, Tristan. So that's a 9, an 8, and a 6. And a 2, and an 8. So these are from 1, 2, 3. Those aren't 8. That's not 8. This could still be 4, 2, 3, I think. Let's see. One of these two cells... Oh, no, that's just placed as a 7. Okay, that finally does it. This digit is a 7 by virtue of 7 sudoku. And if that's a 7, this isn't a 4. And that is a 4, which makes that a 9 and a 4. So that is all well and good. This certainly isn't a 2 or a 3, so the 2, 3 certainly go over there. So that's a 1. There's a 6 over in one of these two cells to make this a happy quadruple. And this could go up to 8, 9, or down to 6. But this Renban has to go at least up to 8, because the 5 is here, and the 8 can only go in one place, which is there. And now this is 6 or 9, and the Renban is happy either way. That is not an 8. It's not a 4. That's not an 8. Might as well fill in that one of these is an 8, just to remind myself. This 7 needs to go in this row somewhere. I don't know if that's worth pointing out. So does this 4 and this 5, actually. No, the 4 and the... Yeah, never mind. I mean, there's certainly a 5 there, but never mind. Nicholas points out we've got a 5-9 pair, making this an 8. Which probably does something. Yeah, we know there's a 6 down there. Let's see. Sayori asking about 7, 8, and 9 in this column, sort of implying that they go there. I'm trying to decide if I really believe that this can't be a 7. Oh, right, it can't because the 6 is gone. Gorgeous. Okay, right. The 6 over here knocks 6 off of this Renban entirely, is Sayori's point. So there's 7, 8, 9 is what goes over here. That one's never an 8, as you can see. In fact, this one's only an 8 out of those. So no 8 there, and so these are the rest of them. So they do not include a 7 or a 9. In fact, those are a 1-3 pair, making that a 4. In fact, those are a 1-3 pair, which makes that the 1, because that can't be a 1 if there's a 1-3 pair in the box, and so we get all of that filled in. So that's a 2 and a 3. One of these is a 2, and it's that one, actually. Now that I examine more carefully. Oops. I did not mean to hit the Sven button, whatever Sven did. Oh, Sven knocked that off. No, I meant to hit the mark button, but I missed. Okay, so seemingly this digit can only be a 9. And so that is a 6 and a 1 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 9 and a 2 and a 1 and a 5 and a 9 and a 2. Probably want to do some more careful marking. Over in these cells, where apparently that is a 1. These are a 3-4 pair, because that's a 7-9 pair. Except that can't be a 4 either, because of that. In fact, it is a 3, so that's a 4. That's an 8, and a 7, and a 6, and a 9, and a 5, and a 9, and a 7, and an 8, and a 9, and a 7, and an 8, and a... Oops. And an 8, and a 6, and a 5. That digit seems to be a 3... That digit seems to be a 4, and that digit seems to be a 5. So congratulations to all the 5 bettors out there. May all your betting tree wishes come true. And that was a just lovely puzzle, Tallcat. Very nicely done. Very smooth and very fun little adventure there to go through that. I really enjoyed that. Everything just sort of changed together in a nice way. Was this 2 stars on LMD, or have I just done too many Renban puzzles? But that was smooth as hell. Very nice. 3 out of 5. Well, super nice puzzle. Alrighty, I'm going to take a quick break, and I'll be back with another puzzle. So see you shortly. Alrighty, welcome back. We have here a Florian Wortmann puzzle, which looks quite lovely to me. So let us have a look at it. I do love Florian puzzles. So we've got a grid based on a snooker table, which unfortunately I can say, aside from Simon always using the phrase snooker maximum whenever something comes up that I don't even remember what it is. Is it 4-7? I don't even remember. I don't really know anything about snooker. But I do understand the rules here. So these are like variant white dots. 1-4-7, 1-4-7. Okay. I was close. So these numbers give the difference. So these are 2 different. These are 6 different. These numbers are 7 different. Which is why the white one is 1, I suppose. These are double arrow clues. So the sum of these 3 digits is the same as the sum of those. Oh, that's why there's a 1-4-7 on the diagonals. I see. Makes so much more sense now. I see what it's going to do, too, and it's adorable. So if this is a 4 and a 7, say, that means these 3 digits add to 11, so they could be 2, 3, and 6, for example. They don't have to be in order or anything like that. That is how double arrows work. Note, these are not between lines. They are double arrows. These are little killer clues, so they just give the sum of the stuff. And these are Renban, like in the last puzzle. So this is a string of 3 digits. And in fact, it's a string of 4 digits because of that. Does anyone have a recommended bet tree for this? Otherwise, I'm just going to guess that like that might work. The thing I'm noting is that these are a 1-2-4 triple by virtue of the fact that it's 3 digits that add to 7 that are all different. And I know here the sort of the not particularly well-kept secret is that 3 consecutive digits always sum to a multiple of 3. So no matter what 3 consecutive digits you pick, you'll always have a number in the middle, and then you'll have a number that's bigger and a number that's smaller. That's always going to sum to the 3 times the middle digit. So these 2 circles also sum to a multiple of 3. Now, a difference of 7 is actually pretty hard to pull off. In the world of Sudoku, because I only have numbers 1 through 9, and I don't think this can possibly be a 1. Because if this is a 1, these would be 1, 2, 3. I would need these to sum to 6, but there'd be no way for them to sum to 6. So this definitely isn't a 1. So the question is, can this work if this is a 2, and this is 2, 3, 4? Yes. If this is 2, 3, 4, we could go 1 and 8. And that would be okay. Oh, this being a 9's not going to work. If this is a 9, then this is 9, 8, 7. And then these 2 numbers are summing to 24. That's not going to work, given that one of them is at most 4 and the other is at most 9. 8 assuredly isn't going to work either, because if this is an 8, then it's 8, 7, 6. And 8, 7, 6 is not going to work, because that's again saying these 2 need to add to 21. So in fact, that is a 2. We can have our famous 2 dance from our famous dancing penguin. Woohoo! 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 Thank you, Zach. Thank you. Much appreciated. So by previous work, these are a 3-4 pair. Also, I'm going to fill in that's a 9 while I go about it. These are a 3-4 pair, so that is a 1 and an 8. In order to make that possibly work. Very nice. These are either 6, 8 or 5, 9. So I guess each of those only works in one way. So I might as well write it in. 6, 8, 5, 9. That's not an 8. So that's not a 6. That's not a 9. So that's not a 5. For whatever it is worth. These need to be 2, 3, 5 exactly. No, that's not true. If this isn't a 2, this is too big, right? Let me double check that. If this is not a 2, the minimum sum of these is 3 and 5. In fact, the minimum sum of these is always 3 and 5. So the minimum that these 2 sum to is 8. And the minimum of this is 2. So yeah, in fact, actually, the minimum of these is 10, which is also the maximum. So that's a 10, that's a 9, that's a 2, and these are 3, 5. That's the point, is that because 2 and 4 in this box are gone, the minimum of these, once the 1 is also gone, the minimum of these is 8, making that have to be a 2 just to make this double arrow have any prayer of working, which then resolves that that is an 8 and a 6, and then makes these two a pair of some description. 4, 5, 6, a 7, 9 pair, it would seem. So chat is very fixated on this 6 dot. So a 6 dot could have 1, 2, 3, and a 7, 8, or 9 on it. But you'll notice that it doesn't have a 9, so it doesn't have a 3. It doesn't have a 2, so it doesn't have an 8. So this is always 1, 7. Agree. Okay, so 1 is 5 below 6. 7, right, 7 doesn't work here because 7 minus 5 would be 2, and 7 plus 5 would be 12. And so that does not work. So that's a 6 and a 1 and a 7. I feel like that was overkill for what the rest of the puzzle has been, but it worked. I realize I say this after what I did in the previous puzzle, so I will not judge you. Let's see. So now I actually know the sum of the digits in this column, so I can use the secret. So, so these digits sum to 20. So therefore these digits need to sum to 25. And these digits are 9 plus 2 times that digit. So if they're 9 plus 2 times that digit, 25 minus 9 is 16. That makes that an 8. And so we can fill in these and double check that it's right. Did I do that right? 4, 6, and 7? Bang, we got it. Okay, we did our math correctly through some miracle. Martin would like me to mark this, so I will do that. So this can't have a 3 in it, and can't have a 5 in it. So these are 4, 8. So that's not a 4. That's not a 4 or an 8. This is a 3 or a 5. Let's see. Is one of these too medium-y, or too big, or too small? Let's see. So 5, 4, 3 would be 12. That's certainly possible. Oh, no, it's not, actually. 5, 4, 3 won't work, because it would require a 4 here, interestingly enough, and as well as a 4 on the Renban. So what if there's a 3 here? Are we going to run into problems? So if there's a 3 here, I can't do 3, 4, 5. So could I do 3, 4, 2? I could if that's a 1, so that's okay. Yeah, MicroStudy is telling me the easy way to do this, which is the thing I thought of down here and then completely forgot about, which is that these two need to add to a number that's divisible by 3. So this can only ever be 1, 4, or 7, is MicroStudy's point. 7's not too much, actually. 7's fine. I can do 7 as long as I make this 4, 5, 6. So yeah, so that's always a 1, 4, or 7, because of that magically. It's funny, when I started this, in my brain, I thought these were 1, 4, 7, and I thought the point was going to be that this cell was pencil marked 1, 4, 7, and so this was going to be pencil marked as numbers that were 2 mod 3, but then that didn't work out because these were actually 1, 2, and 4. But then as it happened, then we got that eventual trick here with that being an 8, so this being 1, 4, 7. Oh, but there's not both a 3 and a 5 on this thing, because 3 and 5 are in this box. If this were a 4, I would need both a 3 and a 5, so that's not going to work. So this is either 1 or 7. If it is 1, then these are 2, 3, 4. And if it's a 7, then these are 4, 5, 6. And so there's always a 4, somehow. And so that's always an 8 and a 4 in that direction. I find that somewhat mysterious, but I'll go with it anyway. Let's see. Do we want to try and guess what this is? Probably. So 9 to 5 is fine. And so 6 and 5 are fine. 4 is not fine. 3 is not fine. I guess the others are actually okay. Maybe that was not as fruitful as I thought it was going to be. I'm being told this can't be a 4. Right, because if this is a 4, it would be next to a 3 or a 5, and it can't be because 3 and the 5 in the box are over there. So in fact, this is always a 4, is Martin's point, which is gorgeous. Which then resolves that 3 and that 4, actually. Very nice. So this digit is not a 3 or a 5 either, so this digit's also a 1 or a 7. For whatever that is worth. These are some numbers. Those numbers, in fact, if you were curious. Let's see. There's a 9 up here somewhere. Ranks is saying I missed something nice with evens and odds up here. Oh, is it? It's because of the point I think is about why we needed a 4, because we had a string here that was going to need an even number, and that even number couldn't be 8. Oh, in fact, it was going to need 2 even numbers, and so one of them had to be 4. Is that the point? Because the 3, 5 was cutting off my ability to have 2 odd numbers. Is that roughly the more demystifying argument, Ranks? Yeah, so that's actually very nice. So Rank's point is up here. If I wanted to know why there always had to be a 4, and I sort of did it by a slightly grindy case check. The point was I needed to have 2 evens on here, because if I didn't, with the 3, 5, I either needed to make these 1, 2, 3, which is never going to work. Oh, or 5, 6, 7, which is never going to work. And so I needed 2 evens. And if I'm going to have 2 evens that aren't 8, one of them needs to be 4. That is a good spot to rank there. Okay. Well, Jay, Ranks was going back to arguing why this wasn't 4. So when Ranks was making the argument, this was allowed to be 4, so it was allowed to be even at the time. But the point was, if this was 4, it broke parity in the world. So Ranks was just rewinding time to say that something that I made seem mystifying was in fact not actually mystifying. Okay, so Michael is saying, no problem. I was just elaborating why I was not saying the thing you were saying, Jay. See, Garion says this can't be 1 because it breaks row 5, column 7. Yep, sure does. So if this is a 1, the minimum of these is 2, 3, 4. Which would require this to be an 8. If it's any bigger, it would have to be a 9, and this can be neither 8 nor 9. So that doesn't work. So this is, in fact, a 7. Well spotted to Garion there. And now we get to do column algebra. Because the sum of all of these cells is 30. But the sum of all of these cells is also... It's also 15 plus 3 times this number, because it is the 7 plus the 8 for each of these, plus this number, which is in the column itself, and also adds to both of these. So in total, this number times 3 is 15 is what we get. So this number just is a 5. If you liked that. Just to go over that again in a way that is... Let me actually put in the 5, and then I think it's easier to explain why this worked out the way it does. Which is that in the column, I have all 3 of these numbers, of course, so those add to 20. But then I have 5 plus 7 for the sum of these, plus 5 plus 8 for the sum of these. And so in total, the column is always summing to 2 times 7 plus 2 times 8 plus 3 times 5. And so we were able to solve for that because we knew 2 of those numbers. That is the punchline. Okay, so now people would like me to fill it in that I actually know that these sum to 15, and so therefore that is the 5 and the 6, and that's a 3, and that's a 7, which is a perfectly reasonable thing for people to desire for me to do with my life. So these digits are those things. That can't be a 9, and it can't be a 2 either, so the only thing that actually works is this for this to be 1 and 3. 9 minus 3 would be 6, which does not work. So in fact, it's 2 plus 3 is 5, giving me that, making that a 5 and an 8 and a 3 and a 5. It is true. People do often claim that you never use algebra in real life, and yet look at this. This is happening all over the place. 2 and 9 go into the grid there. Suddenly this can't be a 5 anymore, which presumably makes this more restricted. Yes, this can't be a 6 anymore. So, oh, this can't be a 6 anymore either. Because 6 is not 4 different from 5, like I at first thought it was. So I think this has become 1 and 5, although I will believe it if someone tells me I deleted a pair that I was not supposed to out of there because I was not paying good enough attention, which sounds like me, I'll be honest. Some digits up there sure are. Just what we hoped. So somewhere in this column there's a 9, and the 9 is with 2 digits that sum to 6 because the total sum... No, that's not true, never mind. The 9 is either on the side, either on this side with a 1 and a 2, or on this side with 2 digits that sum to 4, so with a 1 and a 3. I do not see any of that breaking immediately. Sayori is pointing out that 9 is actually placed in this box. It actually just goes there, which is certainly also true. Okay, so... yeah, there's either a 9 here, in which case it would go exactly there, because it would have to be a 9 with a 1, 2, and this digit can't be 1 or 2. So 9 in this column is either exactly here. Oh, it's nowhere else. It's exactly there, because there are 9s looking at all of these cells. And so this is 1, 2, 9, but as noted, this is not 1 or 2, so that's the 9. And these are the 1 and the 2. And in fact, I even know the order. Thank you to the 1 over there, making that a 1 as well. Gorgeous. Making these some digits. 3, 4, and 6, it looks like, go in those cells. Yeah, it turned out the whole point was Sudoku. Who knew? Are these magically something? Magically delicious or something? Let's see. 1 would make that a 5. That's not going to work. 3 would make that a 7. That's fine. 4 would make that an 8. That's fine. 7 would make that a 3. 8 would make that a 4. Okay, I don't feel like doing this anymore. We'll come back and look at that more if we have to. Probably better to just sort of mark up these cells and think for a second about this. Was maybe more ambitious than I needed. These are a 4-6 pair. There we go. That was the correct thing to mark. So these are not 4 or 6. So those are a 4-6 pair, which makes that a 7 and a 3 and a 6 and a 4 and a 2 and a 6. By magic going across there. So now we have all of this stuff. These are a 3, 4. That's a 4 and a 2. That's a 7, 8 pair, making that a 5. Gorgeous. Let me go ahead. Oh, that's a 6 now, somehow. That's a 6, a 1, and a 6. No 6 over there. We can go ahead and mark up these cells as well. Row 5 has a 7-8 pair Kurobon catches. Slick. So no 7s or 8s over here, which is going to be huge. It's also going to make that a 1, because there's a 3-4 pair now. 3 or 4 are 4 different from 7 and 8 and 0. But it's not a 0. So there's a 7-8 there, so there's no 7-8 there. There's a 3-4 pair, so that's not 3 or 4 either, so that's a 6, making that a 4 and a 6. One of these two is a 9. I forgot 1 is an option. Wasn't there a 1 there? I think there was a 1 there. Oh, I forgot -1. -1, yes. -1 was an important option. We'll go back. If we broke the puzzle, it means that this was a -1. That will do it for us, I'm sure. Okay, so this is a naked 3, making that a 4 and a 3, and a 4 and an 8, and a 4 and a 3, and a 7 and an 8, and a 7 and an 8, and a 2 and a 3, and a 5 and an 8, and a 7 and a 9 and a 7, and a 1 and a 5 and a 9, and a 2. Congratulations to all the 2 bettors out there. Sorry to the 24 bettors out there. I know you were hoping that it would happen twice in one stream, but we did not get. We have not, at least yet, gotten 2 24s in one stream. You can. We will see. It will be very nice in the bar graph when we see the 24. Alrighty. There might be a second solution with a -1. Ranksk is correct. We have not verified uniqueness. We have just verified that this is indeed a solution to a lovely puzzle. Thank you, Florian, for making that. Alrighty. I'm going to go dig us up another puzzle, and I will be back shortly to do another puzzle. So hang out, and I'll be back in just a moment. Alrighty, welcome back. And yes, a few people in chat are mentioning you're spoiled for choice in the Sudoku world now. There's so much Sudoku content that some of it overlaps. So totally understand if you want to go look at the Meme Rister interview coming up shortly. But for now, we are going to do about an hour more of puzzles is the plan, give or take. So we are going to look at this Derektionary puzzle next. It's been a little bit since I did a Derektionary puzzle. Tristan usually snags those out of the bucket before I get to them. But we have HeatTen Up, the puzzle next. So we're going to mix thermos and 10 lines, I believe. So the thermos act as 10 lines. Each thermometer must be broken up into one or more strings of contiguous digits that sum to 10, and these strings cannot overlap. Additionally, on each string, the digits must increase, with the smallest digit being the cell closest to the bulb and the largest digit being the cell furthest from the bulb. Right. So this is not one thermo, but it's a bunch of thermos together. And the bunch of thermos together consist of a bunch of sort of 10 lines. So for example, it could be that this is 2, 3, 5, and then 1, 9, and then 4, 6, or something like that. And so the point is we'd have that sum, and then that sum, and then that sum, and they'd always go in order along the thermo stuff like that. So let us have a look at this while Derektionary debates the existence of a betting tree. So one thing I note as I await the betting tree is that this collection of digits sums to a multiple of 10 that is more than 45. And so it either is 50 or it's 60. And so these two cells either sum to 5 or to 15. Now my suspicion is they can't sum to 15 because 60 is going to be a problem. And so if I want these things to sum to 60, why is it that I think that's a problem? The reason I think it's a problem, Jay has actually explained it very nicely in chat, is that if this is sums to 15, then these are from 6, 7, 8, 9, say. These two are then a sum to 10, so this would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, but the problem is that this is backwards along the thermo, so I'm not allowed to do that. So in fact, these do sum to 5, which gives us a quick digit. I'm not 100% sure that. I definitely believe these two sum to 5. But I think it's possible. Let's see. Okay. Is it possible that these are 1, 2, 3, 4 is my question. And I think the answer is going to be either yes or no. I don't think so. Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. All right. So these either sum to 40 or let's see what. So if this is a 1, 2, 3, 4 business, what happens is my question. If this is 1, 2, 3, 4, then I would need. I don't think that's going to work, although I think it's going to be messy to see it. So, is the point just I don't have enough cells? I only have 11 digits, and so that's the point. That's the easy way to say it, as Kuraban puts it, and I think a couple other people. There's 11 total cells that sum to 50. If I use 4 of them on one cell, or on one sum, I now have 7 that need to sum to 40. But that's a problem because every 10 sum requires at least 2 cells. And I cannot make 4 2-cell sums in 7 cells. So, in fact, this always is exactly this, and this digit is always a 5. And in fact, now all of these are dominoes, and we'll get Zach in here in a second, I promise, to celebrate the 5 dance, because I would not deny microstudy a 5 dance. Ba-boop-ba-doo! Woo! Ba-doop-ba-doo! Woo! Ba-doop-ba-doo! Ba-doop-ba-doop! Woo! Whoop! Uh-oh, did I turn my microphone off? I don't think so. Okay, so, yeah, so these are from 1, 2, 3, 4. These are some sort of dominoes. Exactly the same argument applies over here, where I can do the same thing. And I think I probably need to start coloring dominoes. So there are only 4 ways to sum to 10. And so a thing that is often very useful, Ranks points out that, in fact, I actually know that the 1, 2 comes before the 3, 4. It's often useful in this game that we play to color those 4 dominoes separately and ask where they end up over in this thermo. Now, unfortunately, I don't think I know anything super useful. Like, I know the orange ends up in one of these 2. But I don't think that quite helps yet. Okay, actually, I'm going to do a thing that I should have done immediately that will make this much more helpful, which is that I'm going to write in where the 1, 2, 3, 4s are for these. So at the very least, that seems like it's the sort of thing that could be useful someday. I did it backwards. Oh, it's just these 2 are backwards. There we go. Okay, now that's the sort of thing that seemed like it could be useful, but did not immediately spark joy. Bye, Sarah! I do have all the high digits in this row. So these are a 5 and a 1, 2, 3, 4, for whatever that is worth. Oh, right. That's a good point. Todd points out, I just not even processed that this is here. It's definitely green, though, because it's not any of those. So the low green is not one of these. So this is not green and it's not blue, because that's the low blue digit. So this is only orange or yellow. If we like, that's right. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. So yeah, where is my? And this is not green, but it could be blue. Which I'm sure will be useful at some point. I can pencil mark things like I know that these 2 are not yellow or green. So these 2 are each blue or orange, which makes this either blue or orange. Let's see. That cell is not green or blue, so this is orange or yellow, which makes that also orange or yellow. These are like doubly not orange. As not orange as it is possible to be. Ah, yes. Okay, excellent point from Isabella. Where does this digit go in this box? The answer is this digit in this box needs to go here exactly. So therefore those are green. I agree with that. So this is neither green nor blue. So this therefore is... this is also yellow or orange, because this is not green or blue. So these are a yellow-orange pair, and that is blue. Yeah, I should have just asked, where does the high blue digit go in this box, now that I know that the high green digit goes there? And so those oranges look there, or sorry, these blues look here, which does make that orange. So this is not orange or blue. So... right, this is not orange. Good point. So these are in fact yellow, and these are in fact orange. This digit is either blue or yellow. Those are the only options for this digit. Oh, wait. No, not blue. I did that wrong. What are the... It's blue or... No, sorry. It's yellow or green. It's yellow or green. That it is. It's blue and orange are the ones that are ruled out. This is yellow or green. So, if this is yellow, it makes these two the same. Oh. This is not orange. This I already know it's yellow, because orange is 3 or 4 now, so this is not orange. Just in case you're wrapping your brain around this, each of these colors has 2 digits in it, one of which is high and one of which is low. The low orange digit I now know is a 3 or a 4, and therefore the low orange digit is not a 1 or a 2, so therefore this cell is yellow. So that is cool, and so therefore we can do some little bits of numbering. Like that, and likewise the yellow is not a 3, 4, so those aren't a 6 or a 7. It's not a 3, 4, so not a 6 or a 7. Okay, yeah, one of these two is a 5. I noticed that before. So if this is yellow, it tells me this is orange in retrospect. Yeah, as Ranksk is pointing out, same thing I was thinking. If this is yellow, it makes this orange because these two are both sums to 5. And so they're either exactly the same or exactly different. And so, yeah, if this is yellow, this is orange. And if this is green, then this is blue. So this is either orange or blue based on those two cases. And we have sort of some understanding of which is which. In some capacity. Okay, are any of these 2-cell ones? That one's got to be a 5, 5 just by Sutter logic. There's no way it's anything else. Are there any others of these 2-cell ones that we know something? Garion wants to look at this at some point, which looks a little scary, but maybe it is, maybe it is possible. Tristan is tricked into believing it's not a 5, 5 by the 5 in the column, but I'm not 100% sure. Derektionary points out he actually put a second trick to get people to think it wasn't 5, 5, which is that he said that thermos have to increase, so that way no one would see it coming. But I have seen through Derektionary's ploy, and I know it is going to be 5, 5 at the end of this. Okay, so I am looking at Garion's observation that this is low, and one of these has to be a 2-cell, sort of a 3-cell sum, because this is the start of a 10 sum, and one of them has to be a start of an at least 3-cell 10 sum. And if it's an at least 3-cell 10 sum, then this can't be a 3 or a 4. It can only be a 1 or a 2. Now, I don't think I can have these all... I don't think I can have 2 3-cell tensums. I don't think. But I'm not 100% convinced of that, I don't think. Yeah, it can't be the start of a 4-cell tensum. That's definitely true. I agree with that. Because a 4-cell tensum would create a 1-cell thing. Yeah, I think Garion has convinced me that the fear in my head was right, which is that this could be a 1-3-6 and a 1-4-5. Tristan and Sayori disagree about the nature of this thermo, which is delightful. So it's not blue and it's not green, because this is the high digit on this thermo, and it sees blue and green, and that's yellow. So it's not blue, green, or yellow, so it is orange. I agree. So good spot to Sayori there. 3, 4, 6, 7. That was because of the fact that this is the high digit. So it's probably actually worth me marking that I know at least a little bit about these. And so now, as Sayori points out, I can now place the orange 6, 7 here in this box for whatever that is worth. Orange 6, 7 now, either that's orange 6, 7, or orange 6, 7's over here. Isabella claims these can't be a 2-cell sum. Let's double check that. So they certainly can't be a 2-cell orange sum. They can't be a 2-cell yellow sum, and they can't be a 2-cell green or blue sum, because then this would be the 6, 7, 8, or 9. Gorgeous. So these are always at least a 3-cell sum. And there's no way they're a 4-cell sum. So, in fact, we get that. This I know now is at least a 3-cell sum, because it's not that. This is an 8 or a 9. And in fact, actually, it has to be that. Oops, that's not what I was trying to draw, and you know it, Sven. So we actually get, from Isabella's beautiful point, we actually get our whole 10-line breakdown. So this is not yellow or green. So this is certainly blue or orange. And it's not orange either, actually, because the high orange would be there. So actually, this is blue, which makes this orange, which makes this yellow. We actually did that backwards the way I thought we were going to. So this is 6, 7, 8, 9. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. High yellow goes in one of these two. 5 goes in one of these two. I'm going to pencil mark that the 5 goes in one of these two, just in case it's somehow useful. Let's see. This cell sees the high green and the high blue and the high orange. So this is high yellow. It's the only thing it can be. So that... Oh, no, sorry. That's not true. This is not a 2-cell sum. This is a 3-cell sum. Never mind. Okay. That's a good spot from Sayori. In column 3, I have to think about where the other orange is going. The other orange is the orange 6, 7. It can't go there because there's one in the row. It can't go on this thermo because it would go with the orange 3, 4. So in fact, the only place for the orange 6, 7 is there. That is a ridiculously good spot, Sayori. And so therefore, this is the yellow 8, 9. It's the only place in the box. Therefore, this is the 5. So now in column 3, the question is, what color is this? Well, it now can only be yellow. Which means that is that. Oh, Sayori spotted it a different way. So this is blue. This is a blue 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 2 greens here for sure. 2 greens and an orange. Okay, so these are 2 greens and an orange, but it's the low orange, so that cell's definitely green. And then these are a green-orange pair. So one of these is the orange 3-4. I don't yet know which. Yeah, we've got some blue to do. Either that's the blue or the blue's over there. I certainly know that this is a 1 or a 2, right? It must be a 1 or a 2. Because if it was a 3, then this would be a minimum of 3, 4, 5. That's too many. So that's actually a 1-2 pair, which means that this is at least 3. And it can only be 3 or 4, actually. So this can only be 4, 5, or 6 to go with that, for whatever that is worth. And now... 1, 4, 5? Oh, right. This can't be 4, is your point, Tristan. If this is 4, that would be 3, and this would be 3. So that's actually never 4. It's actually only a 5 or a 6. Right. That's not the yellow 1, 2, Sayori points out, because that looks down there. So this is the yellow 1, 2. This is the other 1, 2 of unknown specificity. I know it's not the orange 3, 4, for whatever it's worth. So this is also yellow, for what it's worth. Let's keep that in mind. So there's a yellow 8, 9 down here. One of these two is the yellow 1, 2. Do I know for oh, right. Okay, never. I was going to ask, do you know for sure it's not something that then Garion actually had already told me? So Garion's point is this is at most 4. If this were 5, then these two would have too big of a sum. So this is a 2, 3, or a 4. And then if this is a 2, 3, or a 4, then this digit could be as high as 7, or as low as 5? Can't be as low as 4, right? Can't be as low as 4. 5, 6, 7. I think that is what's going on there. Oh, and it's green. So this is a low digit. It's not... yes, it is. That is a beautiful spot to Garion, because it sees the low blue, the low orange, and the low yellow. All of them look at this. And so so this is, in fact, green. So if this is a 6 or a 7, what color is it? That's the problem. If this is a 6 or a 7, it's yellow, but yellow doesn't have a 6 or a 7. Gorgeous. So this is in fact a 5, because it sees the high digit in everything except yellow. Well spotted to Sayori there. So that is a 5. Therefore, these sum to 5, so that's not a 2 anymore. So green is the other 3, 4. So let's do that everywhere we can. So these are all 6 or 7. And then once green is the other 3, 4, because remember, yellow's also 3, 4. That means blue is the other 1, 2 in its little bitty part. And so these are 8 or 9. And so that 1, 2, therefore, is blue. Dot, dee, dee, dot, dee, dot. So one of these is the blue 1, 2. Let's see, I do need a high green in this column. So what do I need in this column? I need a high green and a high blue. Yeah, and so this is green or blue, is I guess the point, which means this is green or blue, but it doesn't help that much immediately, I don't think. Let's see. Ah, okay, got it. Okay, yes, that's gorgeous. Okay, so Kyle points out that if I look at where yellow goes in this box, yellow 1, 2, sorry, specifically goes in this box, it doesn't go in any of those cells or any of those cells, and it's not either of those, so it goes in one of these two. But that gives me an extra angle of attack to look at where the yellow 1, 2 actually goes in box 9. This is a very common sort of trick in this sort of coloring puzzle. It actually places the yellow 1, 2 there. So yeah, that still only tells me that one of those is the yellow 1, 2, but hey, that's something. If this is a 6, what color is it? Do I know? I guess I don't know if it's green or orange. I don't think. Oh, I'm being told that I know what this cell is if I look at it carefully. So it's yellow or blue for sure. Actually, it's not yellow either. So it sees all of the orange and greens and yellows. And so it's blue, and it's high because it sees the low blue. Great spot to Todd. Now, does that help? One of those is yellow 1, 2. Okay, so I'm looking at Kurobon's point. If this is green, then of course this cell's not green, so it's orange. So it's the orange 3, 4. I don't... Oh, right. Sorry, that's that. Got it. Okay. Wow, that's complicated. Okay, so I can explain it now in a way that's a little better. If this is a green 3, 4, that's an orange 3, 4, but that's the other green digit. So therefore this digit's orange, except it sees both orange things and it doesn't work. So this is not green at all. And therefore, because it's not green, it's not 3, 4 either. This is not 6 or 7, and therefore it's blue, and that's blue. Crazy spot, Kurobon, but very cool. So now that's the blue 1, 2, just by sudoku. Less impressively. Sorry, I realized I said that immediately after Martin said it. I was saying less impressively that I saw it, not less impressively that you saw it. That is blue 8, 9. Let's see. We've got some other stuff in this box, presumably. It's an orange 6, 7 in here, and a 5. Oh, there's a 5. That's the other thing that's going on here. There's a 5 going on. Let's see. There's another green in this row, and that other green is either there as a 6 or it's there as a 6 or a 7. Smart spot to Sayori. Where does green 3, 8, 3, 4 go in column 8? The green 3, 4 can only go there because it's there. And so this is a yellow 8, 9. Oops. It's a yellow 8, 9. Oh yes, please be sure to like the stream if you have not yet done so. And if you're new, I know we've seen several new people today. Please do subscribe. It really does help. And we hope to see you around again. It's always nice seeing new folks. I enjoy it greatly. Where's green 3-4 in row 7? Ah. Smart to Martin. That's the only place for green 3-4 in row 7. So one of these is green 3-4 in this box. The yellow 8-9 in box 9, points out Tony. Let's see. This is markable, I am being told by Nico. It's not blue or yellow. It's not orange of either flavor because it sees both of them. So therefore, I think that makes this green only, and it's the high green. It's green 6 or 7. Which now I think tells me that this is not green, it is orange, because it sees both greens. So that's orange. Which tells me what this is. Once I look at the column, it's not orange, it's green. So this is the green 6-7. That is the orange 3-4. Thank you, Isabella. You've been a fan for 8 months. That's awesome. We will get you a fan dance. Boop-boop-ba-doo. Woo! Ba-doop-ba-doo. Woo! Ah! Uh-oh. Zach down! Zach, no! Come back! He's okay. There was a there was a minor incident in which we forgot that 5s existed, which is something that happens to all of us now and then, because we only checked the real digits to see what this could be, but unfortunately, But as Sayori points out, the key is I can still ask where 5 goes in this row, and the answer is it definitely goes in one of these cells, so it doesn't go here, which tells me that that's a 6, which means this goes with a 3 and a 1, and I've started to learn some things, some forbidden knowledge about my colors. So let us fill in our forbidden knowledge. 9, 1, 2, 8, 8, 2... 9 1 9 1 2 8 8 2 1 8 not 1 8 1 9 9 8 2. Okay. Microstudy, because I've set a puzzle like this before, I kind of knew that I was not going to be able to unwind this by Vi values, because actually you have to unwind it by these sort of 3-cell sums. So I didn't think I was going to be able to hold the game of don't fill in any bi values until the end. Garion has a brilliant spot, which is that this is a number that is 2 plus something plus 5 equals 10, and it's either a 3 or a 4. But if you try the 4 option in the bifurcation palette, it doesn't work, because 2 plus 4 plus 5 is 11. Oh, Derektionary says it actually is fully colorable. Well, now I feel bad. I would have fully colored it if I had only understood that it would be fully colorable without that. 3 7 6 4 4 6 3 7 7 3 6 4 6. Yeah, I would have thought you'd need that little bit of arithmetic to resolve it at the end, but apparently not. Okay, so that's a 4. This is green. This is orange. Let's see. So now I probably should just like look at random cells in this row. Yeah, so one of them is green, and it's that one. And one of them is 5, and it's that one. So therefore, that one's 5. Let's see. I do need an orange 6 in this row, and it's only going there. So this is either a green 7 or an orange 4. Those are the only places. Where is the other green going in column 7, asks Tony. The other green is going there. And so now where's the other blue going? It's going there. One of these two is a yellow 1, I still know. Let's see, what about this row? Surely something in this row has to break. Yes, this is a green 3 by the row. The row needs a green 3. It can only go there, which makes this a 5, which makes that a 5. Unfortunately, the cell that we tried to prove its value by clevernesses turned out to be a 5. They're always getting in the way. That is the orange 6 by Sudoku for row 1. So this is the green 7. So these include a yellow 9 and a blue 2. I don't think I know anything about that. I do know where the green 7 goes in this box, though. It goes there, which now tells me this is not green, it is orange. Which tells me this is not orange, it is green. So this is a 4, and that's a 7. I'm just noticing there's not a negative constraint on X's in this puzzle. So there's an orange here. Let's see. So now what shall we look at? I should look at the fact that these are both... Wait, what? I don't know what I'm saying. These are a 1-4 pair. That is, I think, what I am noting. Because 1 and 4 in this box can only go here, and therefore this is the other one. Which is a blue 8. For whatever weird reason. Blue 8 now in this column is placed here. Let's see. One of these... No, sorry. Yeah, one of the... This row needs a yellow 1, and it's not going in either of these places. So the yellow 1 goes there, and the orange 4 goes there. These two include a yellow 9, which goes here. No, apparently not. That was a lie. These two include a green 7 that goes here. Let's try that one. That one sounds better. And an orange 4, which seems to go here. These two include a green 3, so that is a green 3. And an orange 6, which is going to go there. These two... Let's see, I need a blue 2. Oh, I need a blue 2 and a 5. So that's the 5. That's the blue 2, and we're finally going to have this thing. Okay, so now that's the blue 2 for this box. That is the yellow 9. That cell now can only be a yellow 1. And that means that our betting tree is yellow. And is a 9. So congratulations to all the 9 bettors out there. May all your betting tree wishes come true. Yes, and if you bet that the betting tree was going to end up yellow at the end of the puzzle, extra special congratulations. I wonder if more people bet yellow 9 or more people bet 24 on the earlier puzzle. I am not quite sure. All right, well, I'm going to pull up a couple 6x6s to wrap up. Lovely puzzle, Derektionary. That was very nice. I liked the coloring with the dominoes. That is always a fun game with 10-line stuff. And the fact that the coloring was so helped by the thermos was really interesting as well. Yeah, I remember we talked about this forever ago, and then you did it, and then I put it in the bucket, and then, as always happens with stuff in the bucket, I forgot that it existed. And then I came across it, and it's like, oh, I'll do that. That sounds fun. So indeed, today, we have gotten to do a double arrow and a 10-line puzzle, so and it has been a good day. All right, I am going to grab a 6x6 and be back with that, so be right back. Alrighty, first thing I saw was a Sayori killer 6x6, so let's do this. We have a normal killer rules, except that we just have some question marks. What does greater than question mark mean? Sum to the number in the top left corner, not question mark aren't necessarily the same for all cages. I feel like greater than question mark, and less than question mark are the same as question mark, but we don't need the greater and the less than don't have any meaning, right? Because question mark and double question mark aren't the same. Because if I'm greater than a double-digit number, that just says the sum is a double-digit number. Oh, it's just telling me it's greater than 10. Okay, got it. Right, it's telling me that it's at least 11. Got it, okay. And then this is telling me that the sum is less than 9. So, got it. Okay, so the point is, because this is less than a single-digit number, it's less than 9, and so there's definitely a 1 in a 3-digit sum. In order to make that work. Got it. Okay, so there's a 1 over there. Let's see. If I want these, that needs to be from 4, 5, 6, because if I'm going to get to a double-digit sum in 2 cells, that's going to be awfully challenging. These 4 together can't sum to anything that terribly large, but I don't quite know. This could still be 2, 3, 4, as far as I can tell. I don't see a good reason why it can't be 2, 3, 4 yet, at least. There's definitely a 6 in here. I can actually say that as well, because 4, 5 would not sum to a double-digit number, for the record. So if the 6 ends up in here, it's kind of a twist. And I'm getting to at least 11, and I don't have a 6 up here, so I might want to have a 6 down there, possibly. Oh, actually, if this number is a 6, the puzzle's broken. So this number is never a 6. That's possibly the point. So if this is a 6, what that does is put a 6 in my 8, or in my cage that's summing to at most 8. That's not allowed. So this is not a 6. And so, in fact, actually, this cage doesn't have a 6 in it at all. And it certainly doesn't have a 1 in it at all either, because if it had a 1, it would sum to at most 1, 4, 5. And therefore, because of that, there's a 1 here, which actually gets us a digit of a 1 down there. Gorgeous. Okay, I like that. So something like 2, 4, 5 is still possible, though, so I have to be wary of that. There certainly is a 6 over here. I guess the easy way to say that, rather than the complicated way I said it, is just there's a Jovi wing on 6s between these 2 boxes, which ruled 6 out of this cage, but whatever. Good spot from Kyle, aka Afraid Not. Where did these 2 digits end up in row 1? They end up here, but they don't both end up there, because those would sum to at least 10 by definition. So one of them ends up there, for sure. So this is always a 4, 5, or 6. If there's... So... Yeah, if the 4 or the 5 in here is also... If that's a 4 or a 5 and it's also in there, then we end up with interesting... So there has to be... There has to be a 4 and a 5 in here, right? There has to be a 4 and a 5 in here. If there's not both a 4 and a 5, the maximum I can get to is 10. So there's both a 4 and a 5 in here. In particular, the 4, 5 from there has to go here. So this is always a 4 or 5, and that 4 or 5 goes in here. So that 4 or 5 actually goes here, which makes that a 6. Because that 4 or 5 needed to be in this cage. I needed both 4 and 5, or I was not going to get to a big enough sum. So I get all of that. Okay. 1 in column 6, I'm being asked, is there. Good. 1 in box 4, I'm being asked, is there. Let's see. One of these two's a 6. Would be sure a twist if that was a 6. But I think it can be. Because I think this can be a 6 with these being a 1, 2, unless I'm missing something. Which is always very possible, so feel free to tell me if I am missing something. Where is the 2, 3 in the box 6 cage in column 9? Ah, right. There's definitely a 2 or a 3 in this cage. If there's no 2, 3 in this cage, then the sum of this is at least 10, which is too many. So that 2, 3 in column 6 has to go there. And so it doesn't go there. Because remember, we needed a 4 and a 5. Beautiful, beautiful spot, Malcor. Even if you said column 9. I knew what you meant. The very rare moment that Zeta was able to decide what someone meant. So these 4 5s in this box, they have to go, one of them has to go over here. So these are from 4, 5, 6. So these are a 2, 3 pair. So this number's at least 4. So these numbers can't even be as big as 4. These can only be from 1, 2, 3 ever. Because if either of these is as big as 4, then this is as big as 5, and we're already toast. So that gives me a weird 2, 3 pair in this row, which makes these be from 4, 5, 6. Certainly means this isn't a 6 for whatever tiny amount that's going to get me. It doesn't feel like a lot. So yeah, of course, these are from 1, 2, 3. See, people think bad things happen if this is a 6. Bad things happen in column 2. Yeah, where does the 6 go if this is a 6? Do I know that that's not a 6 with a... I do know... Okay, yes. So yes, that's interesting. So if this is a 6, these become a 1, 2 pair. So now this digit's at least 3, so I'm never putting a 6 there. I'm not putting a 6 there. This is all in the universe where this is a 6. I can't put a 6 with a 4, 5, or a 6. So I'd have to put the 6 there, but that won't work either because these are a 1, 2 pair, and so that's at least a 3. So yeah, so if this is a 6, I can't put 6 in column 2 through a crazy series of things, and so therefore this is a 6 just by sudoku. Yeah, do we want to color 4 5s? That might be acceptable. Yellow, purple. Yellow, purple. That may not have done as much as I fantasized about. let's see. So if this is not a 1, these become a 2, 3, 4 triple. Is there anything wrong with these being a 2, 3, 4 triple? Okay, so Melchior's claim is if this is a 6, then we need to ask where yellow 4, 5 goes in column 3. So if this is a 6, then we need both 4 and 5 in this cage, because if I don't use both 4 and 5, then I'm not going to get to high enough value. Because I'd get to at most 2, 3, 5, which... Oh no, 2, 3, 5 would work. 2, 3, 5 would be okay, because this is not a greater than 10 cage. This is a... things. That doesn't quite work, at least immediately. As best I can tell. Then both less than question mark clues would contain a 6. So we're saying if this is a 6, if this is a 6, then just by sudoku, there'd be a 6 in both of these. The one down here would go with a 2. Right. The point is there'd be a 6 in here, so there definitely wouldn't be a 4, 5 in here with it. Okay. So yes. So if this is a 6, then because there's a 6 in both of these cages, I certainly can't put a yellow 4, 5 in either of them with the 6. But then there's no place for yellow 4, 5 in here. So this is never a 6. And so now if I don't make this digit a 6, I have to make this cage exactly 5, 2, 3. I don't know if that's a problem, but it's what would happen. Actually, this row has just done the coloring for me. So this is yellow. This is 6. This cell sees both yellow 4, 5 and purple 4, 5. Very nice. So this just is a 6. So therefore that's a 6. So therefore that's a 2. Just by sudoku. This is a 1 or a 3, just to make the cage work. This has a yellow 4, 5 in it. For whatever that is worth. Oh, this cage has a 2 in it for sure, just by the column, because the column needs a 2. So there's a 2 in here. And so 2 plus 6, I guess, is already 8. So I just need a 3 or higher. That's not exciting. Oh, yellow 4, 5 by sudoku in this box is here. Let's do that. Oh, it does mean I can't put a 1 in here. If I put a 1 with a 2, it adds to 9. So therefore, that's a 1 is AFK's point. So therefore, that's a 3 and a 2. And therefore, purple is 4. Yellow is 5. That's a 2. It's a 3 and a 2. This is not a 2. This is a 4. It's a 3 and a 1. 2, 3. That's a 4. Let's see, this is a 2 and a 4. It's a 3 and a 5. So that is a 2. We get a little confetti going on. Let's see, that is a 5 for the row. So that needs to be a 3, because it can't be a 1 or a 2. So that's a 1 and a 3. It's a 1, and that is a 4. We'll go ahead and we'll put a little tint on those and on those. Very nice puzzle. That's a very cute idea. There's a lot of neat little intricate stuff going on there. Very nice. Oh, hey, Tom. How are you? Nice to see you around. I know living on literal opposite sides of the earth, our times do not often align, but it is good to see you. I feel like I probably don't have enough time to do another 6x6. So I'm probably just going to hang up my hat here for a bit. Sorry to Tom. But I promise to hang out more later. But yeah, what a neat idea for a puzzle. I'm wondering how nice or not nice a 9x9 version of this would be. So I feel like you probably could do it. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up there for today. I'd like to say thank you to everyone who supports the stream, as I always say. If you want to support the stream, you can do that for as little as $5 a month by clicking the join button down below. It really does mean a lot to us when you support. There's a bunch of levels, but any level you support, we are greatly appreciative. Any level you support, if you support on YouTube, you get the green name, you get the emotes, the little windmill, you get a windmill dance from Zach. I was happy to do them. And then at higher levels, you can get things like the ability to see the upcoming puzzles and vote on what puzzle I open stream with, that sort of thing. So thank you very much to everyone who supports. I'll also call out the people who support at the top level. So David Ratner, Michael O'Connor, Nordy, Franco, Woofer, DDX, Logan, Daniel, and Willie. They let us get things like I have this new microphone now, which is very exciting. Although perhaps more excitingly to the people who watch the stream regularly is that now Tristan has my old microphone for when we do guest streams, so that you're no longer hearing Tristan through his laptop microphone, which had some issues, I am given to understand. So thank you for letting us continually improve the quality of the stream. Do please take a second to like the stream. If you have not yet liked the stream, it really does help. Tell your friends about us. If you have someone who you think would enjoy the stream, let them know. And if you have someone who's starting out with Sudoku, you're welcome to refer them to the Sudoku tutorial series if they want to sort of get their feet wet with stuff like how do I write stuff in the grid and all that other sort of new stuff. We have all of that available. All right. That's all for now. But we'll be back soon, so I'll be back streaming again on Sunday. So I hope to see you all then. But that's all for now. I'll see you soon.